And we are live. Welcome back to Library of Mass Destruction, the only show where we ask, if you can't control your demolitions, what can you control? How are you doing? How are you doing, Thruster Hudson?
I am so happy to be back. I found out that the only way to stop you from peeing my pants is to stop wearing them altogether.
So you've switched to a kilt in honor of St.
I
Patrick's Day.
am just running proud through the streets, naked as the day I was born.
You're running up that hill.
Yeah, just like that song.
Unlike you as a plebeian. See, when I was born, I was wearing a 3-piece suit.
Oh, yes,
So
yes. I was born in a Cabbage Patch. I was a Cabbage Patch Kid.
really, you were an animated doll. Is what you're?
Yes, a real boy.
I'm a real boy.
My father wished on a star. This blue bitch came into his window, and I became a real boy.
Well, they say
Egregore Cricket
Egregore Cricket
is following me around and making sure that I don't do anything naughty, or I'm gonna get eaten by a whale.
I mean, I don't know. I've never met your wife.
We were having a nice time.
We were having a nice time, and then he brought the wives into it.
Deborah.
Yeah, Deborah.
There we go.
Dude, my wife's actually rewatching. My wife is actually rewatching Everybody Loves Raymond.
Your wife is weird, dude.
I did not realize what a fucking bitch Deborah was.
Yeah, no, no, that's the whole thing, is that everybody loves Raymond and everybody hates Deborah.
It's amazing. Like, I mean, yeah, but Deborah fucking deserves it. Like,
Yeah.
what is her fucking problem?
Her problem is that Marie is the most important woman in Raymond's life, and Marie doesn't even get like all that much attention from Ray, because Ray is the most important person in Ray's life.
I mean, I don't know, man. I feel like she's just a bitch for no reason all the time and just cuts him down and never supports him. It just seems really It's
Yeah.
like, honestly, if one of them was gonna file for divorce, it would be Raymond, for just constant emotional abuse from Deborah, that fucking whore. I mean, she's not a whore, but she's a bitch. She's a bitch.
She is a bitch.
Yeah. Honestly, his
peak boomer writing.
His tall brother Robert, for being a stone cold incel, is actually like the one who's living his best life.
Not a stone cold incel. He has like 2 wives in the show.
Yeah, but not like Mormon 2 wives. Like he seems like the kind of guy who like is married for 5 years and never consummates the union. Well, and for such a tall guy, he's a tall guy and he's a cop and he has like no self-confidence. I don't understand.
Well, that's Marie.
It's the least.
Marie built up Raymond by tearing down the giant known as Robert.
Huh. Interesting. Okay, all right. I mean, I would accept the sibling rivalry analysis of Everybody Loves Raymond. I do like their father though. He's great.
Peter Boyle is terrific.
Yeah, that dude's a dickhead. He's exactly as respectful to Marie as he ought to be. She needs to lose fucking weight. I mean, she looks exactly like every old Italian woman ever, but like right down to the haircut.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, Marie, watch what you fucking eat already. Come on.
She's eating a little too much of the gabagool,
There's an episode that I overheard, because I can't sit down and watch it. There was an episode that I overheard where the kids, or Raymond, finally asked, like, you guys just constantly insult each other all the time. You don't show each other a single ounce of respect. Why are you still together? And she says, basically, because their dad is an expert cocksmith and she is constantly thirsty and he's the only one who will do it. Like, yeah. He's just, he's just got a hog and knows how to use it.
Yeah, and he's there for the cooking.
He's there for the food, yeah, because he just starves if she's not there. So, Shark's got to swim. Raymond's dad's got to fuck his porker mom. And Deborah's got to be a fucking bitch for some reason. Jesus.
Yeah, reminds me of Malcolm in the Middle. And people try and
Never seen
rehabilitate the
the show.
mom, but no, she's just a fucking cunt. Like, yeah, the kids are bad, but her fault.
I've never watched a full episode of that, and for years, for whatever reason, I thought that the oldest brother was played by Orlando Bloom.
No,
It's definitely not.
Chris Masterson, I think.
Chris
His brother
related to Danny Masterson.
Yeah, his
who's
brother
in
is
prison for actual rape.
Yes.
Yeah.
Also of that 70s show fame.
It was legal. It was legal in the 70s. And if you're a Scientologist, but you got to be a different you got to be a different level of Scientologist to get around.
I'm doing a lot of reading on the New York Yankees, and the one thing that keeps coming up is just drinking and driving was like so okay up until like 30 years ago.
It is okay. Drinking and driving is based. Getting into accidents is not based. The difference is that Caucasians, white people in general, can drink and drive safely.
It's our superpower, like doing taxes and seeing
the others just constantly run over orphans or produce new orphans by killing parents and having like one sibling be the only one who survives the crash. I mean, look at the illegal truckers who are in the news recently. It's just they're just killing 5 people at a time and getting called out by slightly less brown dudes on TikTok.
You're a fucking bastard bitch.
Yeah. They're going to lock you up, bro. Bro, you killed all those people. Bro. Actual quote. Look it up.
I'll have to. I'm not aware of this, but I automatically.
No, it's actually horrible. Like seriously, like 2 families died.
Good God!
Some random Senegalese guy. I don't know if he's actually from Senegal, but he's definitely a migrant. Ran them over with a semi.
This is so upsetting. I'm gonna have to go get a hamburger on installment.
Oh, look, man, 0% interest on anything is good. All right. I'm just going to let you know.
I built an empire buying fast food and 0% interest.
Look, man, if all of your random bullshit discretionary purchases, like if you had the same amount of spending and you bought all of your discretionary purchases on 20-year money at 0%, you would be so fucking far ahead. It would be fucking easy mode. You would never, none of your discretionary purchases would ever go against like your actual income. You could put so much money and be on the correct side of compound interest. It'd be amazing.
You lost me completely. I'm stupid when it comes to money. I just know that interest is bad. And
you're wrong.
If the economy is telling me to buy a hamburger with 4 easy payments, that's a sign of a bad economy.
Man,
you used to buy a television in installments. Now you buy hamburgers in
the worst fucking
America's
thing.
fallen.
Oh my god. Access to credit is fine. Even access to consumer credit is fine. The problem with consumer credit is that people load themselves down with it and it's high interest. If consumer credit was 0% for 6 months all the time, then everyone would be in people would be in a much better position.
Sounds like usury.
No, it's literally not usury. There's no interest. God damn it.
I don't know, Cap. Your Masonic tricks won't work on me.
Oh my lord.
I'm gonna do my taxes and I'm gonna make sure that I tip those IRS boys.
I'm gonna tip remember to tip your IRS agent.
I'm an American. We live in a tipping society.
We tip our IRS.
Almost forgot the mints.
Anyway, let's go to chat. We have some wonderful folks here. Ziria, Crawfish was Kino, by the way, Cap. Ziria was posting on his crawdad boil earlier today. It looked very nice. He has a special folding table with a garbage can in the middle just for throwing the skeletons of his defeated comestibles.
God bless this country.
I know. Honestly, there are people who say that it's terrible to eat the bugs, but the freshwater mud bugs are pretty fucking good. I just want to point that out. I'm not getting in line to have mealworms and crickets just because fuck Klaus Schwab.
Carl Schwab, yeah, him too.
Yeah, fuck Carl. Yeah, Klaus Schwab. Specifically, just fuck them. I'll just say no because it's coming from them. But yeah.
But if you cover it in Old Bay,
yeah, dude, crawfish, scrimps, lobsters, crabs.
Just going through freaking Lent this year for the first time, like taking it seriously. And I probably shouldn't say freaking Lent, but just going through Lent, shrimp's a staple, man.
Oh yeah, dude. Hey, check it out. So this is underrated. Speaking of seafood, I'm going to give you the cap cut on seafood. So mackerel. Most people are just like are unable to differentiate between various kinds of whitefish, but mackerel is a very fatty, very meaty kind of whitefish that when you grill it, it ends up like the fat ends up rendering out of it and cooking down so that it like you get like a nice little char on it, and it's really, really inexpensive. It's like the New York strip of fish. So fucking good. And you don't need to do anything to mackerel. You literally just get mackerel fillets and throw them on a grill and you're good.
I'll have to take a look at that after Lent.
Oh, well, you can't eat
nope,
fish?
Nope. We are completely vegan, except we can have
bugs. You can have
bugs.
arthropods.
Yeah. Yes.
Really? Yeah. The Orthodox are bizarre. Orthodox are bizarre, man.
I think it's like any fish without a spine is
okay.
Is cool.
So you're on like cephalopods and other mollusks.
Yeah, I think I can have like calamari.
Yeah, cephalopods. Like I said.
I don't know, dude. I don't.
Do you ever you could walk into the seafood restaurant and shout, "Give me the cuttlefish"?
I haven't done that yet.
You could do it.
I might. Also, no dairy. No.
Really, man. All right. Well, I mean,
no. It's because I love God. And clearly you don't. You guys
could have just gone with Catholicism.
You guys literally had the same rule.
Anyway.
You guys had the same rules, and you were like, you know what? That's too hard. We're gonna try and turn this into girl church.
No, actually, see what happens is the doctrine is eternal, but understanding of doctrine improves. So, checkmate atheist. Checkmate fellow pre-Protestant Christian.
Checkmate heretic.
See, like the thing is that you're a convert and I'm a cradle Catholic, so
I was a cradle Catholic and I chose
like a coward. Like a coward. Oh my god.
No, it's really funny. I thought we were gonna be Catholic, and then I came and saw. I gave it a shot, and I was like, "Oh, I can never leave."
It's pretty cool.
Yeah. It's really nice.
Let's see. Beam. Good evening, fellow Chud. And oh yeah, Ziria. Boil included scrimp, sausage, crawfish, potatoes, corn, and mushrooms. Classic.
Oh, sounds great.
Actually, I don't believe that I've ever heard of mushrooms being in it, but that sounds good.
Yeah, I'd believe that. Like,
I mean, I like
boil the mushrooms up, and
yeah.
I'm not a big fan of mushrooms, but that's basically all I can eat now. So,
Sex Freakman, cephalopod. That's what I call my mind palace. You should have called it your cephalopad. Come on. Millennials love puns.
Forgetting where I left the keys to my mind palace.
Oh my god. Gabe, I researched Bowden so hard I became a Mormon. He claimed to be Mormon one time. Just one time.
One time.
One time.
Yeah, when he was hitting on some young thing at the bar at the pub.
Young thing. Anyway, all right. So this is
What are we
Library of
talking
Mass
about?
Destruction. Not let's talk about what we've eaten and dunk on our generally co-religionists but not co-denominationalists. So we are going to continue with the reading of Aberration in the Heartland of the Real by Wendy Painting Phd. Because Hudson was so eager to run out 2 weeks ago, we're sort of like at the tail end of a section here. So we're gonna run through that one real quick, and then we'll get started in earnest on the veracity of Tim McVeigh. All right.
I believe you, Tim.
I believe he's not only trustworthy but voracious. His voracity and veracity are second to none.
Tim
But
has never lied to me personally.
Personally, yes. As these things go, there is ample historical precedent to show that, strange as it might have sounded, there was nothing impossible about the guilty agent story McVeigh told his sister. Whatever their purpose and whoever signs their paychecks, all operatives working in an undercover capacity must gain the trust of their targets. They do so by smoke and mirrors. Illusions meant to manipulate impressions, contrive situations, using schemes, ruses, pretexts, scams, cons, decoys, staged introductions to frame the context in which the agent is inserted. I like framing the context in which I'm inserted. How about you, boys? Ha!
Hey.
Good old Flim Flam, man. She should have said Flim Flam in that list. Good old Razzle Dazzle. You got to fry and frazzle.
Find out where I left off here. This isn't right.
You got to go back one page and it's there. Yep. Stop. Go back to the one you were just on. There we go. We're sort of halfway down the left hand side.
Oh, I see. Yeah, no, Flim Flam definitely fits.
Yeah, Flim Flam, Razzle Dazzle. You know, just a little like the. Who the fuck was that in Chicago? The musical, the movie. You remember who played that role?
Never watched that.
Was
not
that
a homosexual.
Tim Robbins?
No, it was Ewan McGregor.
It was not Ewan McGregor.
I don't
know.
Chicago. He was in Moulin Rouge.
Yes, he was. That was not a homosexual movie, by the way. Moulin Rouge was. There's some top shelf fucking trim in that movie. Holy shit.
You want to know? I know you're old as hell.
What?
You use terms like trim.
Top shelf trim. Actually, you know, I was talking to some of my Australian mutuals because I wasn't aware of some slang terms to be disrespectful to women, but apparently bint is one of them.
Oh yes,
bint is a really good one, and I did know sloot. I love sloot.
Yeah,
but I thought that I didn't realize sloot was contemporary. I actually kind of thought that sloot was a slash fit term because of Z's.
Yeah. Is it not? Is it older?
I don't know if he specifically made it up, but apparently it's a generalized Australian.
Oh, interesting
slang term.
I mean, my favorite is gash.
Gaff?
Gash.
Oh, gash. Oh, all right.
Like just like that. Yeah. I think it's worse than cut.
It's way worse.
It's like yeah.
Well, it's way worse because the connotation that I have with gash is, I think and this will also tell you how old I am. I believe that there's an episode of Salad Fingers where they say the line, "Rub the ointment on Granny's gash. Mind there might be a few loose kernels." And that's burned into my memory. So
that was great.
Yeah. Now it might be burned into yours too at this point. But yeah,
no, but you know, if you really
thanks JavaScript, that's the worst thing you've done to me.
If you ever want to put a woman down,
Flash, not JavaScript, Flash.
Wow.
Flash.
Oh man, Macromedia,
real player.
But yeah, if you ever want to put a woman down, you just call them gash, and that's, you might as well.
Silence.
They're not even people at that point.
Silence hole. Oh my god. Jesus Christ. Salad Fingers, the game theory video. Thanks, Gabe. I appreciate it. I appreciate that. I mean, realistically, like I was watching Salad Fingers when Gabe was being conceived because I couldn't pay enough attention to his poor mother when
Gabe wasn't conceived. Gabe was assembled in some Montenegrin factory to make the world's least attractive man.
He was conceived in the sense of like they conceived of the plot, right?
What
not
if we
not conceived as in an egg meets a sperm? Yeah, it was just someone's bad idea.
What if we created this thing? Let's give that a shot. Like people talk about how the Ford Edsel was a really poorly conceived of car.
Yeah.
So they made the Ford Edsel of people
because it had a gash on the front of it.
Yeah, it did.
Yep. All right. Throughout the duration of their assignments, they must be able to convincingly create and maintain fake identities and cover stories with no warning, resist integration, and if interrogated, remain calm and provide false information.
Oh, but when I resist integration, I'm a racist.
That's right. We're all just all of us are just double agents, psyoping each other. It's just
you should go do some
glowies
crimes
the whole way down.
No,
hey, why don't you do some crimes? Why don't you do a call to action that would be allowed in court as evidence against you?
Go do a bad.
Resist integration, and if interrogated, remain calm and provide false information. As we've seen, sometimes they become so immersed that they trick even themselves into thinking they're the people they pretended to be or were told to become. In this light, McVeigh's actions before and after the bombing may take on new meaning, even if the undercover mission he thought he was engaged in was purely imaginary. Some commentators combine both scenarios by suggesting that McVeigh's secret mission was both real and imaginary. While the Jones why not both? While the Jones team discussed it previously, David Hoffman more candidly outlined such a suggestion when he asked whether it was possible that McVeigh had been lied to. Someone who McVeigh thought was working for the government gave him a cover story, convinced him he was on an important top secret mission. For him, McVeigh's seeming indifference upon his arrest could indicate this belief. A number of his character traits, Hoffman points out, would have made him both an ideal undercover operative and a perfect fall guy. Others have noted that, like Oswald, McVeigh left the military under a cloud of unknowns, became politically alienated, engaged in restless nomadic wanderings, had a deep desire to be recognized by a strong father figure, and a desperate need to assert himself, to do something important, to write himself into history. All easily exploitable traits that made both men a natural sucker for real conspirators, whoever they may be. Well, Wendy,
dun, dun, dun.
Who said whoever they may be in just 2 ellipses? I think certainly his psychological profile fit that of the typical spy as highlighted by Dr. Jolly West and Friends in 1985. Good old Jolly West.
Popping up.
Always popping up, saying hi. Yeah.
Speaking of who, we have not gone through the JFK files. We probably won't. We're going to let other schizos do that and then, probably talk about their book.
Yeah, I mean, it's 80,000 pages. We're not reading that live. That'll take actual years on this show. So, McVeigh's documented dissociative disorder and other revelations only compound matters and add to an already complex array of information that must be considered when evaluating his guilty agent claims, and in fact open doors for the creation of experimental wolf stories. Fabricated undercover identities exacerbate role confusion and can take on a life of their own, a nearly predictable occurrence when certain psychological profiles with dissociative predispositions are taken into account. What's more, hypnosis can and is used to aid in the creation and maintenance of controlled alter personalities for use in undercover work that are then further developed and structurally entrenched during real-world field deployment. The more predisposed to dissociative experiences, the more suggestible they tend to be and the easier they are to hypnotize. Conspiracy theorists have known this for a long time. That's partly why Jolly West causes them such antagonistic fascination. The funny thing about West is that he wasn't just an expert on cults, undercover operators, and spy handling, but hypnosis and dissociative states as well.
We call that the five-finger death punch.
He is the total package. West wasn't interested in curing dissociative disorders, though. He was specifically concerned with ways
Causing
to
them.
induce dissociation, and wouldn't you know it, he was one of the primary architects of the military's SEER program. More on
All right.
that shortly.
Quick question, Cap.
Yeah.
You're a worldly, knowledgeable man of the world. This might actually be a better question for Sandbadge, but what's to say we take like a large learning model or a large language model, right?
Yeah.
And feed it the 80,000 JFK files and ask it who killed JFK.
I'm sure that someone has already done that. What's
What
the point?
is real?
What is real? Yeah, so Rose Lalande's suicide lover, you say who? I think you're probably talking about Jolly West.
No,
Jolly,
Matt Patty.
oh,
Look
Matt
up a,
Pat. Yeah, I got it.
who is Matt Patty?
Matt Pat from Game Theory.
I don't know who that is.
No, you're lucky.
I had to look up salad fingers. I'm not gonna lie.
You didn't know what salad fingers was?
No, I was a
I thought you were
sheltered
an old
boy.
head. All
I
right.
was an old head.
I was in
a
fucking college when that came out.
dude. I don't know how I missed that.
Yeah, you really missed out. In any case, yeah. A number of theorists conceive of John F. Kennedy's assassination as the first major postmodern event, an event that spawned multiple chronologies, theories, and histories, and a pervasive paranoia about the secret government machinations in general. Central to this were questions about the true identity of the ambiguous and multiplicitous Lee Harvey Oswald, the first true postmodern subject, whose many identities could mean any number of things. McVeigh's seeming inability to keep his many identities straight, keep track of all their movement and relationships, or even remember them, is another trait he shared with DeLillo's fictionalized Oswald. DeLillo's Oswald is a man plagued by a number of uncanny other Oswalds, whose existence deeply disturbed the real Oswald's concept of the singular self. DeLillo explained that this depiction was inspired by an observation that the real-life Oswald seemed to be scripted out of doctored photos, tourist cards, change of address cards, mail order forms, visa applications, altered signatures, pseudonyms. His life as we've come to know it is a construction of doubles. Like McVeigh, DeLillo's Oswald becomes one of those people whose fantasy life is much more important than his real life. The world of espionage into which Oswald drifts is a particularly dangerous one for such an individual, since it is a breeding ground for paranoia, illusion, and multiple identities. What do you think, totally real name Hudson?
You know, I think that it's very likely I am mentally ill.
I think that that is true, and I think it's very courageous of you to admit that you're retarded.
I didn't say that. I said mentally ill.
Can you really trust a mentally ill man to, tell you what he said?
Oh, shoot. I got to think about that. I did ask Grok who killed JFK, and they said that it was Lee Harvey Oswald. So,
Okay. Well, did you ask it? Did you prompt it according to the JFK files that were recently released?
yes,
Yeah.
I did.
Yeah.
I asked three different questions. I asked who killed JFK. I got the standard answer. I said based on the newly released documents, who killed JFK? Same answer. I asked, was Mossad involved in JFK's assassination? No.
Well, Grok's just lying to you.
Yeah,
I think we know.
pretty definitively that our
Grok's been
greatest ally,
subverted. Yeah.
our greatest ally, liberated us from the first Catholic president.
Why would you bring up something that happened in the 1960s? That's basically ancient history. It's not like it should have any impact upon like current policy.
But wait a minute, wasn't there that event like 20 years prior?
I have no idea what you're talking about. All right. The veracity of Tim McVeigh. Every person has the capacity for self-deception, but Tim's is seemingly infinite. Internal Jones team defense memo. Is he lying or isn't he? 1996. What science may never be able to explain is our inflappable fear of the alien among us, a fear which often drives us not to search for understanding, but to deceive, inveigle, and obfuscate, to obfuscate the truth, not only from our,
Obfuscate. What is
obfuscate.
wrong with you?
I said obfuscate.
No, obfuscate, not obfuscate.
Obfuscate.
There we go.
The truth, not only from others, but from ourselves. Agent Dana Scully. Oh, I was tripping over it because a woman said it. The X-Files, 1999.
Now that's a show that you should watch with your wife.
I've actually never watched.
Oh, dude, it's great.
X-Files either.
The best part is it shows how crappy 90s rental cars were.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because all
they're all Corollas.
Yeah, it's Corollas or Scions.
I thought Scions? I thought Scions started getting made in like the early aughts.
No, I think Scions were around in the 2000s. No.
Yeah, they don't exist anymore.
I literally did just pick like a random shitty car, so it could be other things.
Yeah, I mean, look, I know it's so good. You know what else is really fucking weird?
Debuted in 2003. Wow.
You know what's really weird? I've actually seen Millennium, the spin-off series of the X-Files.
That's
yeah.
Have you ever seen The Lone Gunman?
I haven't seen that one.
Oh, because they have a 9/11 episode basically.
Amazing.
No, they have a whole episode that basically predicts 9/11 with a hijacking and a building. Yeah, it's
but they released it prior to.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Amazing.
In the 90s.
All right. Let's see. According to Herbeck and Michel, the most cited account in discussions about McVeigh, Jones simply did not believe McVeigh's contention that he acted alone and was convinced there was a much bigger conspiracy involved. But McVeigh never wavered from his story.
Oh, that dog just ain't going to hunt, Tim.
Except for all of the times that he did waver from his story. According to archival documents and those who knew him, McVeigh did waver. Okay, right. I never say anything because Wendy will get to it immediately. And at various times alluded to or admitted to other conspirators, only to later deny such admissions or near admissions. Over time, in bits and pieces, McVeigh presented several possibilities about the reality of the bombing. He had acted alone. He was one of a group of conspirators whom he refused to name because, as he himself said, I gave them my word.
I looked the manager in the eye. I gave him a firm handshake, and I told him I wouldn't rat him out to the feds who he was.
Or as an agent for covert powers in a vast conspiracy. Sometimes it was almost as if he wanted to tell them, but stopped just short of doing so.
The O.J. Simpson debacle.
Rather, he hinted, alluded, suggested, smiled, and arched his eyebrows in just such a way as if to suggest they were getting closer to the truth. But his hints, in combination with the inconsistent details and changing stories he offered them, made it nearly impossible to know what, if anything, he said was true. That smile, that damn smile. The questions remained, even if something he said was not true. Did he really believe it was? And if so, why? Were they fantasies he took refuge in, calculated lies and chicken feed meant to misdirect their investigatory and legal defense efforts? Partial truths mixed with misleading deceptions. The ambiguity surrounding McVeigh's version of events and his sporadic yet enduring delusions dictated that his defense team carefully consider the possibility, plausibility, probability, and rationale for any one version he offered, including the most outrageous, and then weigh it against supporting negating evidence. But as the Jones team engaged in an increasingly aggressive effort to determine the truth about the bombing, McVeigh resisted at every turn. Their cumulative efforts deeply disturbed him as their ongoing inquiries and investigations threatened to undermine his lone wolf legacy.
Okay, all right. I'm just gonna ask this: what was the point of him having a lawyer at all? Why couldn't he just fire them and plead guilty if he wanted to die so bad? Like if he wanted this to just
I honestly, good question.
Did Tim just enjoy messing around?
He wanted to so he wanted to have a platform. He wanted to make people believe, he wanted to like use the platform of the trial to make people think about Waco and Ruby Ridge. That was his stated reason.
You see,
he wanted
American Idol hadn't come out yet.
He wanted to recommend that everyone read the Turner Diaries. Like, guys, you got to read the Turner Diaries.
It made me the man I am today.
It's the best book I've ever read.
It was just, you see, the truck wasn't meant to be a truck bomb. It was meant to be a fireworks display that said, read the Turner Diaries.
Yes, it was just, it was all like he's blinking in Morse code just to say, read the Turner Diaries.
But, you know, directions got all fouled up. We were on our way to the bingo parlor, and one thing led to another.
Oh, interesting. Hold on. Woodpit, I think Hudson and Micah Pohl are the same person. That's not true, because Micah Pohl knows a lot more about Baudrillard than
I
Hudson
don't know
does.
shit about
He doesn't know shit about Baudrillard.
I refuse to learn about Baudrillard. I do not like philosophy. There are like three philosophers that are cool. Every other one of them is a massive tool.
Is one of those Jesus?
No.
Oh, okay. All right.
Jesus is God.
I'm glad you weren't counting Jesus. Thank you.
No, I'm counting Nietzsche, Aristotle, and
the third one.
The third guy. You know, I guess Augustine's all right.
You don't like really
Saint Augustine.
You're afraid of your dick. Lord, you know, save me from my temptations, but not yet. Yeah, I mean, you didn't even say Nick Land. Aren't you mutuals with Nick Land?
Oh, well, no, but he's you can't be a philosopher and alive.
That's not true. What do you mean?
Philosophy is a dead man's pursuit.
You try your
you're
whole
a writer
life.
And you're a writer and then you die.
You're a writer and you die and then you become a philosopher.
Yep.
Okay. Do you think Ayn Rand counts as a philosopher?
Yeah, she's dead.
Because she's dead.
Yes.
She's a philosopher, not because of how she wrote. All right. I just want you to know that, like, while
Ayn Rand, the novelist.
Yeah, while I am sympathetic to and you know, had my own path through libertarianism and like right anarchism, people who say that Ayn Rand was a philosopher are like are intellectually impoverished.
Ernest Hemingway, philosopher.
Ernest Hemingway, philosopher. T.S. Eliot,
also
philosopher. Ernest Younger, philosopher.
John
the
J.
importance
Stanford,
of being earnest.
Not a philosopher.
The importance of being earnest. A philosophy text.
Who's afraid of Virginia Woolf? This guy.
I'm fucking
What's
terrified.
Eating Gilbert Grape? I don't know. He's retarded.
His mom out of house and home.
She tried to eat him, but you know, she couldn't get out of bed.
She couldn't get out of bed, and they burned the house down around her.
Let's see. Let me look at my bookshelf to find more writers. Robert Ludlum, philosopher.
Owen Zaleski took his bag tuggers using domestic terrorism to create buzz for their book reviews. Sir, I disavow. I find it very humorous, but I disavow.
Don't do that.
Now would be the perfect time to write a book called How to Burn a Tesla Dealership. That would be a real banger.
The exact movements of certain United Healthcare CEOs and what to do about it.
Look, whatever you got, the exact location of every Fortune 500 CEO.
Woodpit, I disagree. I love The Great Gatsby.
Great Gatsby's good. It's good.
It's the tale of a black Jewish man pretending to be white.
What?
No, there's like a bunch of there's a bunch of scholarship around Gatsby. Some people think that like some person wrote, "Oh, Jay Gatsby's clearly black," and it's just like,
Absolutely not.
and I think it's a more convincing. You could convince me that Jay Gatsby is actually Jewish or a Mischling. Especially
Okay.
his name was Jay Gatz before he changed his name, and he hangs out with Meyer Lansky.
I mean, all right, fair enough. But Meyer Lansky was like, he was
And
like
it's all about trying to become a wasp. I'm just saying, it
Meyer
tracks.
Lansky was a fucking rent boy for the Italians.
That is not true.
That's so true.
That is
So true.
Oh man, I've got some videos.
Real
over
Jew
on
hours.
BitChute.
They were not in charge.
I gotta send you this dark web link to some podcasts that you're not allowed to listen to.
What? How spicy would a podcast have to be in order for it to only be available on Tor?
Well, there's only one way to find out. Let me send you a link.
There's only one way to find out. Let me send you a link to my Telegram. Yeah.
Okay. Let's think about this logically, right? Using deduction.
Talking first time for everything, huh?
And reason, right?
Are you gonna hypothetically me, Ben Shapiro?
No. Okay, let's say hypothetically you have a drug operation. Are you
got to
gonna
talk at like
Italian
1.5 speeds?
Are you gonna trust the dumb Italian guy? Or are you gonna trust, the guy who could be your accountant?
The Italian.
Okay. All right. Fine. Yeah. No.
This is why. There is
no mafia, as we all know.
There's no mafia. There's just guys who know guys who all have who are all the same ethnicity.
I'm just saying, if the I in APAC stood for Italy, the FBI'd be all over it.
Sure would. They were. They fucking were. They passed the RICO laws. Anyway. Several internal defense memos revealed the extent to which the Jones team went to determine his lies from his truths. One undated memo entitled, "Is he lying or isn't he? Secret," outlines and compares the conflicting statements he made over time and essentially encapsulates the content of many others. The memo illustrates the ways in which at least some of the Jones team were coming to view him. Tim is a masterful manipulator and con man. The better part of his adult life is predicated upon lies, deceptions, and cons. His story is riddled with inconsistencies. His psyche is such that he often says and advocates the opposite of what he truly believes. Even when not completely lying, he's prone to hyperbole and exaggeration and displays delusions of grandeur. Tim is confident of his intelligence and his ability to lie and deceive. Tim tells us he's telling the truth, and he purports to value truth, integrity, and honor. Tim is lying to us, and he uses the same strategies of deception on us that he used on others. Diversion.
Look over there, not at this truck.
He takes the offensive with us, dominating conversations and attempting to do the same strategically in terms of the case, to steer it in the direction he wants rather than risk letting us probe around in the topics we're desperate to know. When we get close to finding something out, Tim gets indignant and defensive. His recent hysteria over the subpoenaing of the phone records is a case in point. Why would he care unless buried within them, they are going to prove him a liar? By his own admission, Tim lied to us from the beginning. And though he says he is now coming clean, the truth is that he's just exchanged old lies for fresh ones. The larger part of his adult life is predicated upon lies, deceptions, cons, theft, and adultery. And yet, Tim continues to assert, with a straight face even, that truth, integrity, and honor are his predominant characteristics as a man. Every person has the capacity for self-deception, but Tim's is seemingly infinite.
Man, think about it.
Fucking burned him. Absolutely roasted Timothy McVeigh.
Tim would have been the best Twitter poster.
No, he wouldn't. He would have just fucking posted about goddamn Turner Diaries all the goddamn time.
Fine. But I don't know. I think Tim would have had a great account Also, it's very possible that Tim crawled so that Andrew Tate could drive his Bugatti.
Tim tunneled along lyingly. Very good. Thank you, Whitpit. You really fucked that one up.
Yeah, a little
Hudson.
bit.
You should have said
I
Tim
know he drove a Ryder truck so that
exactly.
I literally a half second after I said, I was like, "Oh, you idiot!"
Yeah,
it was
you
right
fucking
there.
moron.
When are we getting the shirts?
Oh yeah, I need to actually. Mike had a demo.
Because you know who might be able to host it for us is
It's us actually.
Yeah. What? No, we can't.
No, we
Nobody.
can't. It's just third party.
You're not cool if you host your own shirts.
Oh my god! All right, I got it. All right, well, we can talk about it later. By August 1995, Jones had reached the limit of his tolerance for McVeigh's obfuscations, even if they were symptomatic of his mental illness, and his nonsensical lone wolf story, and convinced him to take a polygraph test. The results of the polygraph indicated McVeigh was dishonest when he said no other conspirators beyond Nichols and Fortier had participated in the bombing plot. Tim Domgard, who conducted the polygraph, told Jones, "There is absolutely no doubt in my mind that McVeigh is attempting to keep someone's identity who is involved in this situation from me," and predicted he would take the names with him to his grave. After Jones confronted him with the results, McVeigh, who assumedly thought he could pass the test, became enraged and said he found the test results unacceptable. He insisted they were wrong and based on inaccurate science. 2 handwritten letters about the results he wrote. To rest on these polygraph results is not an option because somehow they are wrong. I give my word on my sacred honor that I am telling the truth. I will submit to anything to prove my word to you.
Except the truth.
For the trust of my legal team is all I really have left. He didn't have that, obviously, because they told him to take a polygraph. I am absolutely psychologically in a tailspin. If I cannot gain your full trust, then I have very few unpleasant options left. This guy is being a woman about this and implying he's going to commit suicide. Amazing. I will submit to further polygraphs. Sodium pentothal, all caps for sodium here. Starting to type like Thomas 777. Hypnosis or even fucking torture to recover the honor and integrity that I have lost today. I admit that I cannot explain the results, but I am adamant that they are flawed and wrong. I cannot live with these results, period. I am betrayed, bitter, and on the literal verge of psychosis. Who knows what I could do? I'm going to
do it this time, guys. I swear.
I will not face anyone who thinks I am untruthful. Yeah.
I declare a duel to anyone who calls me a liar.
Declare. Yeah. I mean, yeah. Well, yeah. So Woodpit, lol, random capitalized words. No, not words. Just sodium. Just sodium. Just so you know that it's not a different kind of pentothal.
Oh no, we injected him with magnesium pentothal. Now he's orange. I don't know what magnesium does.
He's gonna have to shit or something. Yeah. Right.
He's just constantly shitting his pants.
the true shit. It's oh no, we gave him a truth laxative, not a truth serum.
Every time he tells the truth, he craps his pants.
Himself.
They call him the Pinocchio of shitting his pants.
The truths are so powerful that it makes the hearer listen, shit their pants. That's what I did to you. I gave you the. I took the thing so truthful. The serum so powerful that anytime I said something to you, you peed your own pants.
It's true. I was there.
He was there. You were there. Dr. Halleck believed McVeigh was concealing something and said he kept bringing up the polygraph results in their discussions. In fact, said Halleck, McVeigh had become obsessed by the failed polygraph test. After one conversation with him, he wrote, Tim was very bothered by the polygraph results and kept coming back to that. He said he was going to be watching each of his lawyers quite carefully to see whether any particular lawyer seems not to believe him anymore. He said that if people do not believe him, he will be very upset. And upset he got once threatening to hit the next motherfucker who asked him about where he parked his getaway car. So hard that their mama's gonna get a black eye. So Timothy McVeigh starts telling Yo Mama jokes. He's so serious.
Oh
He's,
yeah, Tim. Well, I'm gonna hit you so hard that your mama's gonna get a black eye.
yes. He told Jones, I mean, definitely Mickey McVeigh's moose hangers have been in the
I don't know.
coal black hands of an
Guys,
octoroon.
black guys don't bowl.
No, they totally do.
Never
They
seen
totally
it.
do. Oh my
I've
god.
seen them shoot craps.
You've never been to a
Play
bowling
spades.
alley in a major metropolitan area of undisclosed location. But yeah, no, black people love bowling. I don't know what to tell you. Yeah. Now, if you want to see a thing that no black person has, well, based on your perspective, either no black person or only black people have ever touched, let's talk about bocce ball.
Oh, bocce? Oh, yeah, no, that is black coded.
Yeah. There's a really good Italian bar near me with like all lawn bowling in the back. It's amazing. Just old Dagos just chilling there, like drinking long necks all day. It's the best.
Now, another
Anyway.
question. Why is Tim so surprised that he failed this test when he failed his special forces test? He's really good at failing tests.
Did he though? Yeah.
I don't know. That's what he wants us to believe.
That's what he wants us to believe. Yeah. He'd
Tim,
be like, this is exactly like when I failed my special forces test, which I failed.
Tim,
Yeah.
notable failure.
Oh man, nervous Norvask, sorry. The truth shall shit you free. Perfect. Love it.
Does the knuckle match the drapes?
Do the hangers match the knuckle?
That's it.
Yeah.
I guess the hangers matching the drapes would work better.
The hangers match. Oh yeah, that would make sense. You would want all of your window treatments to be, nice and consistent.
You know what's terrible about having windows?
When
you have a draft.
I just get good windows.
Oh.
Renewal by Anderson. Get them.
Bastards.
Yeah.
They're at every town fair for no
reason. Dude,
reason.
it's crazy. Their marketing is awful.
We are here to replace your windows.
So yeah, why are you here?
This is a carnival for children.
Yeah, but you got windows on your house, don't you? I live in a bunker.
Windows on your treehouse need renewing, kid.
Gee, mister, I don't know if I can afford $5,000 per opening.
What you can afford is losing out on all the electricity and heat and cold that you're losing by these drafty windows that you cut out with a saw.
Renewal by Anderson Cooper. It could have gone with Rejewel by Anderson Cooper, or Being Gay by Anderson Cooper. Yeah. Isn't he he's related to the Vanderbilts, I think.
Yes, there's some very strange pictures of him as a child.
What do you mean?
Oh, let me jamie that up real quick.
Oh yeah, you can jamie it up for us. He told Jones that the problem, as he saw it, was that Jones kept showing up and presenting him with a new and improved list of the most eligible co-conspirators. But the problem would naturally resolve itself once Jones ran out of names of the living, McVeigh continued. I'll suck it up if necessary, but just know that it makes me want to smack you.
Can I share this real quick?
Go for it.
Hold on. There's some odd happenings. So that's a picture of young Anderson Cooper being read a nice story by his mother. Look at what's hanging on the wall back there, though.
Okay, interesting. Not really sure what that is.
That, my friend, is some sort of satanic happening.
Is it?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I really honestly kind of can't make out what's going on here. It could just, I mean, I don't know. Might
Hold on.
be. Might be.
The
You
the
zoom in
internet
on that.
told me
That's
better.
like a
Oh yeah, no.
figure.
So yeah, there's the sacrifice, and that's like a head in the
Yeah.
background.
Yeah. And a cock over on the right hand side.
Yep.
Maybe
Yep.
with like some sort of, you got two angels flanking this figure. I don't know if those are wings or arms that are upraised. Three cubes over the right arm of the figure.
They put
The
a
cross on
picnic
one side.
blanket on
What's
the
the other?
wall.
What's the other? What's the thing? So the cross is on the left side here, above the head. What's above the cock? What's that medallion?
I don't see a cock in there.
There's like a fucking rooster.
Oh, what the hell is wrong with you?
What?
Just say rooster.
Why? When I
A-
could say cock?
Anything to just say cock.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we can't really make out what's going on here,
All that
but
is to say is that yeah, Anderson
no, it's
Cooper.
definitely weird. It's definitely pretty weird. I'd be interested to know what's going on there. Also, yeah, weird interior decoration. What's with the picnic the picnic blanket? Why do you have gingham walls? You know, how waspy do you need to pretend to be to have gingham walls?
Sorry, for some reason when you said gingham, I thought of oh, what was basically morphine? Langham?
Laudanum.
Laudanum. Yeah, I was like,
Yeah.
what does that have to do with anything?
Yeah, which should not be confused with
Ingested.
gold pressed latinum, which is different. Let's see. But since McVeigh's story of the car changed, their doubts persisted despite his threats. All the more so after the polygraph, until finally McVeigh requested that no member of his legal team visit him unless it was crucially necessary. Of course, while not every member of the team agreed that it even mattered who else participated in the bombing, at least as far as McVeigh's legal defense was concerned, Jones felt it was important and, further emboldened, continued his inquiries. Thus, the failed polygraph examination it precipitated the near total collapse of McVeigh's relationship with his legal team. Frustrated with their inability to get McVeigh to come clean or even keep his stories straight, Jones asked the mental health experts to make recommendations about how better to induce McVeigh to give up the information he so carefully guarded. Dr. Simone wrote that McVeigh was as shrewd and clever as they come, and suggested tapping into his Stockholm syndrome, his reliance on them for everything, and using it to their advantage. Circumstances, including McVeigh's deteriorating mental health and refusal to cooperate with his defense team, became such that Dr. Simone expressed his beliefs that it was absolutely clear that the mental health issues cannot be divorced from the legal effort, and recommended that the legal team approach him as both legal client and clinical patient. In response, in October 1995, Jones wrote McVeigh, "I think sometimes you must feel there's no one that you can communicate with. So here's my suggestion. You seem to have gotten along well with Dr. Smith. Why don't we arrange the Dr. Smith?" We're getting a little black here.
No,
Appointment
keep
once a week, and
I'll
let
say,
him
I'll
be
say.
I say, let him be your therapist, with the understanding that anything you say to him is privileged. In other words, we will alter his situation so that he is not part of the psychiatric and psychological pain, but is here for you and you alone. Nothing you say to Dr. Smith will be repeated to any member of the defense team except myself. It will only be repeated with your express authorization to Dr. Smith.
See,
Dr. Smith is highly regarded. He is close by, honey child, and I think he would value this relationship and do you an outstanding job.
You went
I
like
lost it.
Truman
I lost
Capote,
it. I
and you
lost
went
it.
like Aunt Jemima.
I fucking lost it. Yeah, I just had to switch the other one. Yeah, you got magic. You got magical Capitalisimo. That's what you got. In his response letter to Jones, McVeigh told him that, in his opinion, they should just sack all these doctors, at least in the context of seeing me. In fact, he said, he had made it known to all of them that he didn't even completely agree with the science of psychiatry. I know what that's like. And the only thing the doctor visits accomplished was to make him extremely defensive, uncomfortable, and even more stressed out. That said, McVeigh closed the letter by stating that he would consider Jones's suggestion about bringing Smith back in and asked for a week to think about it, as it's hard for me to admit that I would need to call in a professional. Smith and McVeigh would continue their visits, but not for a few more months.
Well, you see, Dr. Smith wasn't actually the guy Tim was talking to. Dr. Smith had a sock that he wore on his hand that Tim could talk to.
He was comfortable speaking to socks. Yeah.
I don't know, Sacco. I feel like I shouldn't have
Sex freak.
blown up.
Let him be the rapist. Yes. Perfect. Orwellian reversal.
Good God.
Orwellian reversal. It sounds like a
Wrestling
Yu-Gi-Oh
move.
card. Yeah. All right. Yeah, that one too. His case was unfolding itself. While up in the attics, the court officials were poring over the charge papers. It looked like a kind of torture sanctioned by the court, arising from his case and concomitant with it. Even that has its reason. It is often better to be in chains than to be free. Franz Kafka, The Trial, 1925.
Make sure to go check out my episode with Kevin Kautzman over at Art of Darkness. Well, it's not over at Art of Darkness. It's on the Cannon Fodder channel, but he's the Art of Darkness guy.
Thank your local Max Brode, the homie who doesn't follow your dying wishes so that you have a legacy.
Burn everything. No, I think
The
Trial by Max Brode.
Yeah. My favorite conspiracy theory is that Franz Kafka didn't actually write any of that shit. Max Brode wrote all of it and just put his dead friend's name on it so that it could get published.
That's great. That's way. Franz Kafka never put pen to paper. Was illiterate.
He was illiterate. He was just a ladies' man. He was super happy all the time. Yep.
He's never been. He said, "I love being a bureaucrat."
I love being a bureaucrat. I love everything about it. I think that it's inherently fulfilling, and everything we do is actually important.
Without bureaucracy, how are we going to get papers in triplicate?
No kidding. They hadn't invented Xerox at that point. They only had carbon paper. All coercive techniques are designed to induce regression. The deprivation of stimuli induces regression by depriving the subject's mind of contact with the outer world and thus forcing it upon itself, while the calculated provision of stimuli tends to make the regressed subject view the interrogator as a father figure, thereby strengthening the subject's tendencies towards compliance.
That's bullshit.
As regression proceeds, almost all registers feel the growing internal stress that results from wanting simultaneously to conceal and divulge. As the sights and sounds of the outside world fade away, it's significant for the interrogate needs to do likewise. The outside world is replaced by the interrogation room, and the dynamic relationship between the interrogator and the interrogated. As the interrogation goes on, the subject tends increasingly to divulge or withhold in accordance with the values of the interrogation world, rather than those of the outside world. If resistance is encountered, non-coercive methods of sapping opposition and strengthening the tendency to yield and cooperate may be applied. The use of unsuccessful techniques will often itself increase the interrogatee's will and ability to resist. The effectiveness of most non-coercive techniques depends upon their unsettling effect. The aim is to enhance this effect, to disrupt radically the familiar emotional and psychological associations of the subject. When this aim is achieved, resistance is seriously impaired. The aim of the Alice in Wonderland or confusion technique is to confound the expectations and conditioned reactions of the interrogatee. The confusion technique is designed not only to obliterate the familiar, but to replace it with the weird. As the process continues day after day as necessary, the situation becomes mentally intolerable, and he is likely to make significant admissions or even pour out his story. Kubark, Counterintelligence Interrogation Manual, CIA, 1963. That
on the very next
sounds
page,
good read. Yeah.
on the very next page, it describes how you can't actually torture women.
Because they like it.
Well, yeah, no, they find that they slip right out of the chair.
Nice. I got it. I
Yeah,
understand what
right.
you're saying. Yeah. We'd like to know a little about you for our files. We'd like to help you learn to help yourself. Look around you. All you see are sympathetic eyes. Stroll around the grounds until you feel at home. Hide it in the hiding place where no one ever
Oh,
goes. Put it in your pantry with your cupcakes. It's a little secret, just the Robinsons' affair. Most of all, you've got to hide it from the kids. Laugh about it, shout about it. When you've got to choose, every way you look at this, you lose. Simon and Garfunkel,
I
Mrs.
only
Robinson,
I only
1968.
attribute that song with sex.
Here's to you, Mrs. Robinson.
Where have you gone, Joe DiMaggio?
Where did he go? Who knows? Greatest
Right,
Italian American.
right into Marilyn Monroe, and then beat her savagely for
Being a whore. So true. So true. Joe DiMaggio's looking down on us in heaven and saying, "That's right, I'll beat that bitch again." But
Do you
she's in
think
hell.
Joe
So I'll never
DiMaggio
see
made it
her
to heaven?
I think Joe DiMaggio made it to heaven.
I don't.
He's a good Catholic boy. He had last rites. Of course he did. He didn't have a chance to sin between then.
No, he banged Marilyn Monroe's corpse one last time.
Right after he got last rites.
Yep.
Yeah. McVeigh's Special Forces Assessment psychological exam revealed an already existing tendency towards, among other things, paranoia, a trait he shared with his mother, Mickey, of the Moose Hangers, who may have Mickey McVeigh of the McVeigh Moose Hangers, who may have imparted her own paranoid thinking to her son. After his arrest, as McVeigh's paranoia became more pronounced, so too did his mother's, who constructed her own experimental guilty agent narrative about her son, and, like him, began to suffer a rapid mental decline. In a series of internal memos, Dick Burr and Lee Norton described their impressions of her as well as those close to her. Oh, we're just going to dunk on the old hag, aren't we? In July 1995, Norton thought Mickey was in a state of emotional crisis, understandably, displayed symptoms consistent with mild to moderate paranoia, and was probably suffering from significant depression with anxious and paranoid features. When they met, Mickey was preoccupied with making sure Norton was who she said she was, and after Norton showed her multiple forms of identification, Mickey remained suspicious. I see. Norton was female. I didn't realize.
I see. Yeah, Lee Norton. That could have gone either way.
Yeah. She told Norton that she was under constant surveillance and people followed her wherever she went. She provided pictures of
a lawyer. Okay.
No wonder he lost, and also the being guilty part.
Yeah, that didn't help.
She told Norton that she was.
OJ didn't have one female lawyer on his team.
Not a single one. No, that's true. The secondary lead prosecutor was a female, though.
Yeah, she really messed it up.
She provided pictures. You know who else was a female? Nicole Brown, that whore.
Nicole Brown Simpson.
Nicole Brown Simpson. Yep.
Just because he murders you doesn't mean that she doesn't keep the name.
Yep. She got stabbed to death for being a coal burner, ironically. Anyhow.
Do you know who else was a female?
Adolf Hitler.
What? No. Maybe. I don't know.
All historical figures were troons, is the rule.
Mickey Munchausen by proxy. That's funny.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Nervous Norvask. The Mickey Munchausen Club. Yep.
MICKEYMOOSE.
Fuck. Let's see. X Guy Extra. I think that picture you shared earlier was Arma Christi. So the rooster represents Peter's denial of Christ. Okay, that makes sense. The head is John the Baptist and the robe figure is Mary. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean
So
that
all right, probably not as sinister, but
the two angels. I do wonder what the other medallion was.
yeah.
But yeah, it doesn't inherently look, you know,
You look more into it, and if you look into the Vanderbilts as a family, they're really weird. I actually went to school with a Vanderbilt, and she was not
was she
very.
Vanderbilt?
No, no, she was not. Uh,
Bad.
she was actually like really pissed that I didn't know who the Vanderbilts were when I was like 13.
Okay.
She's like, "You've never heard of the Vanderbilts?" I'm like, "No, bitch, I don't."
No, I'm a Hudson. Have you never heard of the Hudson River?
Yeah, of the New York Hudsons.
Yeah. All right.
Hudson Bay, Hudson by, uh, you know, that band.
I don't know what you're talking. I don't know what that last one is.
Oh, Vampire Weekend has a song called Hudson.
Oh, okay. Okay. Which is named after you. Yep.
The Hudson Newses, the worst bookstore on earth.
No, the worst bookstore is Newport News, which is
Oh,
the
I hate Newport
convenience
News.
store in every airport. Yeah.
No, Hudson News is that. Newport News is a place in
Oh,
Virginia.
that's right. Yep. Anyway, let's see. Under constant surveillance, and people followed her wherever she went. Classic targeted individual paranoia. She provided pictures of devices on her phone wires, which she believed are phone taps, about which Norton noted she may be correct. Mickey wondered if Tim gave her house keys to the FBI. The bombing, Mickey told Norton, was part of a government conspiracy, which her son was the Lee Harvey Oswald. And although she knew more about the conspiracy, she couldn't talk about it, as doing so would put her and her family at further risk. Thanks, Mickey. Jennifer told Norton that her mother was becoming increasingly incoherent and paranoid. Jennifer, no fan of the FBI at this point in her life, remarked that her mother was becoming obsessed with the FBI and the notion that they were following her, tapping her phones, and even encouraging her to have a nervous breakdown as part of the larger conspiracy of the case. She thought the government was controlling the information she heard on the radio. Correct, actually. And asked Jennifer to get a hold of Tim's attorney so that they could make the government quit controlling her radio. Okay, yes. You were right, but not in the way or to the degree you were thinking. Yeah.
I want to listen to Coast AM.
But it's
Art Bell
PM.
isn't on until nighttime, Ma.
But it's still 11. It's 11 a.m.
I want to hear the chase. Bum 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 bum. No.
The government's controlling what's on the radio. I don't like hearing the ska music. She believed that the defense team was in league with the FBI and could control what they did. You know, at this time, probably she was hearing a whole lot of flagpole sitta. So I can understand being a bit annoyed.
She was a bit of a pole sitta herself.
This is the summer when in the 90s where big band was a thing for briefly.
Yeah, that was a great time.
That was weird. Yeah. Popular music in the 90s was kind of wild. There was like a month where everyone was buying Gregorian chant CDs.
Yeah, no, The Simpsons made a really great joke about that with Barbershop Quartet.
Oh, really?
Yeah, no, there's a whole episode where Homer's in a barbershop quartet and they win a Grammy and they're like really famous for like 3 weeks.
Oh, and then everyone's on to Gregorian chant.
Pretty much.
Great.
It's a great episode. Early Simpsons peak.
Let's see. She believed the defense team was in league with the FBI and could control what they did. Jennifer said she thought her mother was taking sleeping pills given to her by the Coast Guard doctor. Healthcare was available to her through the Coast Guard via her new husband. Mickey's attorney confirmed that her condition was growing worse, but said he felt it best that she not seek treatment through the Coast Guard as the quality of care they provided was questionable and they could very well leak information.
Good Lord, who would have thought that Mickey would marry 2 homosexuals?
Do you did we conclude that Tim's biological father was gay?
We don't even know who Tim's biological father is.
I mean, I guess that's true. The ostensive biological
No,
father.
I mean he looks just like his dad. So
Yeah, okay.
that was just a really good retort by me.
It was. It was. You
just
are
I
a
put a
very
little
good retort.
I put a thank you, dickhead.
In October, Dick Burr and Lee Norton met with her again, after which Norton noted that Mickey was experiencing pervasive paranoia, sometimes accompanied by auditory hallucinations. Absolutely wilding out here.
Maybe she blew up the Alfred
No
P. Murrah
shit.
building.
She told them there was an ongoing plot to make her think she was going crazy. She was being stalked and her life was being threatened. Cars and trucks followed her, and their drivers talked about her on the CB radio. Except they called
Have
her
you seen
he.
Mickey's tits?
Except they called her he in order to trick her and hide what they were doing. She thought a dentist she had seen some months ago intentionally introduced an infection into her jaw. Her friends, neighbors, and even her own husband were in league with the FBI's machinations against her, said Mickey. At first, she thought her husband was just helping them gather information, but more recently, he introduced noxious gases into the air conditioning vents in an attempt to asphyxiate her. He had also tried to give her poisoned brownies. Her husband had since left her, probably because she is thinking that his farts are
Horrendous.
Zyklon B, and yeah, and that his Betty Crocker is gonna Betty Croker. Sometimes, she said, her calls to innocuous places like her credit card company were rerouted to the local FBI office. She was receiving communications through the local radio station and could hear them speaking between the lines about her whereabouts. In fact, both her television stations and her radio were being controlled externally. Sometimes she would be watching the news and the announcer would say that next up was a report about the Oklahoma bombing. And then all of a sudden, cartoons like Tom and Jerry would cut it and replace the news program, making it so she couldn't get information about developments in the case. If that wasn't bad enough, they could even watch her through her television, and her efforts to thwart this by throwing a blanket over it were futile because the signals can go through all the electrical outlets.
Amazing.
So
there's a film called The Recruit with Al Pacino and who's that Irish guy?
I've never heard of a single Irishman.
You'd know him if you saw him.
Ewan McGregor.
No, close.
Okay. Liam Neeson.
Closer, because I don't think Ewan McGregor's actually Irish.
All right.
Colin.
Cillian Murphy.
No, Colin something. Not Firth. Farrell. Wait. Colin Farrell.
All right. Okay.
Yeah. So there's this. Anyway, the plot revolves around this piece of technology called Ice 9 from the Kurt Vonnegut book, Breath of Champions.
It's Cat's Cradle.
Or Cat's Cradle, thank you. Where basically anything connected to electricity can be tracked by the government.
Okay.
So like any computer that's plugged into a wall, you can hack that computer.
Okay,
through the wall,
through the power rather than through any networking cable.
Yes, which is ridiculous, but funny.
Yeah, I mean, you can. Isn't there technically like Ethernet modulation over power lines?
I mean, it's all just copper wiring, you know. So like, the thing that's not stopping it because it's electricity versus data, because the data going through is literally just an electronic pulse. It's that say you have a laptop, the power supply isn't connected to anything generating data.
Right, of course. But it could be in principle.
Yeah. In principle, that could be something that you could. Honestly, with the amount of stuff that we have these days, I can't believe they haven't tried that.
I'm sure that I mean, you can do it, but I bet the throughput is very low and the interference is extremely high.
Yeah, actually, you're right. There's probably a ton of static.
Yeah, because it's just not conditioned.
So originally, before phones were before telephones were brought out to the Midwest, farms would you could actually communicate between neighbors by sending electrical pulses through your electric fence.
Oh, sick.
Yeah.
It's fucking awesome.
Or no, you could actually talk through your electric fence. Sorry.
So someone's got to go out to the fence to talk to the.
Basically, you could just connect two tin cans.
Amazing. Love it. Yeah, it's like an intercom that if you touch it wrong will knock you out.
Yeah, or pee on it. Yeah, you want to hear me pee?
Don't whiz on the electric fence. Anyway, she could hear people at a distance, including a sniper in her father's yard, who she heard say, "I have a clear headshot of her." Mickey attributed her newly amplified. It was Lon Horiuchi. Mickey attributed
Horiuchi, you're the best we got.
Horiuchi, you're not even on duty. I just love headshotting women inside of buildings, sir. Horiuchi, stand down. But god damn it, I love you. Let's see. Mickey attributed her newly amplified sense of hearing, which Norton said sounded more like auditory hallucinations, to her heightened anxiety that had kicked off self-preservation abilities. She had even developed a telepathic connection to her son and knew what he was thinking about in prison. She thought it was possible that Tim could have been brainwashed at some point in time and was absolutely certain it was possible that someone could have implanted a chip in his butt, explaining that if they can do it to dogs just by lifting up a flap of their skin and slipping in a needle, they can certainly do it to humans. Not wrong, actually.
Not wrong, Mickey. You're all right.
She thought the chips were used to track people, possibly children, in order to prevent them from being kidnapped. Now more than ever, she was convinced that her son was a patsy in all this. Her family wanted to commit her, but she said she couldn't let that happen because then the news would announce mother of mad bomber cracks up. She's right. Norton,
the tabloids are going to have a field day with this.
Yeah. Norton closed this particular memo by noting that while her delusional symptoms seemed to have spiraled out of control, it was possible she'd always had them, but to a much lesser extent, and it was imperative that they learn how this had affected McVeigh's developing worldview. Finally, in November, after another meeting, Dick Burr outlined his impressions, which were very similar in content to what he and Norton observed.
It's just a silhouette of Mickey's shape.
It's just the hangers.
Get it? He outlined it. Right.
I get it.
Impression.
I want to draw you in profile. Finally, in November, after another meeting, Dick Burr outlined his impressions, which were very similar in content to what he and Norton observed the prior month, including the most striking impression that Mickey is extremely paranoid. She had seen at least 2 more dentists recently, but thought they too had done something harmful to her. This fucking family just has shit teeth. Like, it's just on Mickey's side. They got fucking like weak enamel or some shit. Why do they keep going to dentists? Like, just pull them out. Get dentures. Like, be done with it.
Get the veneers. It's the best shit. 30 grand you can spend.
No shit. I mean, fuck, even a partial. Like, get a bridge. Who cares? Fuck.
They can't put an entire bridge in someone's mouth. Maybe it's like a 2-lane.
I've never been to 2-lane. Is it nice?
Nice. No, that's in France.
No, I think you're thinking of Nice.
No, thank you. I don't have any siblings.
Great. That's awesome. I was hoping that you would go there with that. Thank you.
Yeah, you and I, we're unfortunately sharing a brain cell.
Yes. The one we have. All right. Let's see. Sometimes her things would go missing, like her credit card and identification. And once all her cigarettes had been taken out of the pack in her purse and lined up one by one on the seat of her car. She had finally overcome her jaw infection, and since then, it seemed people had backed off a bit from trying to confuse her and make her think she was crazy. She told Burr that she believed her son would try to cover or protect other people, even if it meant taking the blame, because he always wanted so much to please everybody. The government, she said, had made her son into a scapegoat. Mickey was clearly suffering from severe delusions that had increasingly made her life unmanageable. Still, the defense team acknowledged some of them were based in reality, although, wrote Burr, it appeared most of them were not. The FBI was following and spying on various members of the Jones team, so why wouldn't they follow McVeigh's family? Very, very true.
They figured they got one McVeigh to commit a crime. Maybe they could get another.
They get another one. This one's real kooky. Owen Zaleski, Mickey's mouth might be big enough to hold a bridge. So true. She's had a lot of experience stretching that one out.
A lot of traffic coming in and out.
No kidding. Mostly coming in, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, there's no evidence that she had bulimia.
Let's see. Mickey was cameras hidden inside television sets were nothing new and had been used in undercover investigations for quite some time. In fact, McVeigh's army friend Ray Barnes later told me that when Wendy Painting.
Wow, Wendy put herself in the book.
Later told me that this isn't a quote. Yeah, interesting. That when he was scheduled to testify at McVeigh's trial, the FBI put him up in a hotel, and soon after, a compromising video taken from inside his hotel room had been mailed to his wife. Electronic bracelets were being used to prevent child abduction, and tracking clips were being marketed for this purpose as well. Much of what Mickey thought was happening to her wasn't, but as it turned out, the FBI had bugged the McVeigh family homes. Phones and motels the FBI put them up in at various times during their investigation. Transcripts of conversations recorded by wiretaps and bugs just days after the bombing, prior to Mickey's mental decomposition, reveal that both his mother and sister believed that McVeigh had been recruited into some sort of covert operation. Their beliefs were based not on their paranoia, but because this is exactly what he had told them years earlier, and at the same time, they had no reason to question his honesty.
Ray, is this a video of you jerking off in the very nice hotel room we put you up in?
Yeah, I was all alone. My wife wasn't there, and
that's a
little bored. Yeah, I mean, I already told my priest actually, and I said my novena, and it's fine. I've been forgiven. Why does Ray talk like Obama? Who knows?
Is Ray black? I forget.
I think Ray Barnes might actually have been black. Yeah.
You sent a video to my wife/husband.
Oh, you sent a jerk vid to Big Mike. I hope he liked it.
No comment. Okie doke.
Like Lee Harvey Oswald's mother, Marguerite, had done, Mickey McVeigh spoke publicly about her son's innocence, claiming he worked in some sort of undercover capacity for the government, and accused mysterious forces of spying on her family prior to and after they framed her son. Unlike Marguerite Oswald, Mickey McVeigh's claims and assumedly her distress led to her involuntary confinement in a psychiatric facility in early 1997. Yeah, Marguerite, definitely
the big victim of all this.
Well,
I'd say the number
Marguerite
2
Oswald?
victim. Yeah, the number 2 victim of the JFK assassination
was Margaret. No, absolutely not Marguerite Oswald. It was Lee Harvey Oswald's daughter and wife.
Yeah, Marguerite. Oh,
No,
that's
Marguerite
the mother. No, sorry. Yeah, you're right.
Maria.
Maria.
I believe Marie, maybe.
Marina.
Marina, that's what it was. Absolutely, you're correct. But yeah, no, poor Marina Oswald.
Yeah, no, sorry, she's number 2, and then it's a whole list of people who were killed to keep the secret, and then Marguerite.
Yeah, that's right. Alrighty. As early as May 1995, McVeigh told his defense team that he was suffering from Gulf War illness and said he and his cohorts were used as guinea pigs for some sort of test vaccine. When they obtained a partial set of his military medical records, not the psychological test records, McVeigh appeared to be sensitive about some of the entries in it, but did inform them that certain entries that should be there, including immunizations, were missing. The Jones team conducted research into the issue of Gulf War illness, but at the time, its existence was the topic of heated debate and study. As he had in the military and in the years and weeks before the bombing, throughout his time in prison, McVeigh continued to see doctors and dentists on a regular basis for many of the same symptoms he had previously. Once, within days of seeing a prison doctor for a recurring skin rash on his forehead in October 1995, McVeigh informed Dick Burr that he did not want to see the medical doctors anyway, the first of several such requests. In fact, throughout his time at El Reno prison while awaiting trial, McVeigh expressed a deep distrust of and anxiety about the prison staff generally and their medical staff specifically. He told his attorneys that the prison guards were drugging his food. Was McVeigh as batshit crazy as his mother seemed to be?
No, Janet Reno wore a fake mustache. Oh, no, sorry. Janet Reno didn't shave her mustache that day.
And exactly.
Her very Italian womanly mustache. And yeah, she drugged Tim's food.
Just to take advantage of him. Yep. Oh man, yeah. Wood Pit. Marina is always a piece of A in the movies. I mean, in real life too. Like Marina was beautiful. Honestly, Oswald kind of gay as fuck.
Well, yeah, Russian women are gorgeous.
I mean, like Oswald was low key, you know,
packing heat. Let's just say there was a
he was kind of light on his feet. To leave that at home and go get assassinated by Jack Ruby. I'm just saying.
He had let's just say he was packing his own Carcano, if you know what I'm saying.
All right. Earlier that summer, several news outlets reported that hypodermic syringes were among the contents of food trays delivered to McVeigh and Nichols. Okay. This led to the suspension of Chuck Mildner, the chief of security at the prison in charge of the guards who delivered the trays. The prison warden, R.G. Thompson, assured reporters that despite the syringes, the inmates were not at risk, and the issue was an internal personnel matter, whatever that means. The strange thing was that Mildner was not suspended because syringes were delivered to the inmates under his watch, but because after the incident, he heightened security and put preventative measures in place to stop such things from happening. What?
Listen, guys, you can't be shooting up in prison. Shut up, warden.
Mildner's supervisors overrode and countermanded the security measures, after which additional contraband, this time unspecified, was found on their trays. After Mildner's suspension resulted in an outcry from other correctional officers, Warden Thompson clumsily explained that the only reason he suspended Mildner was that he opened his big mouth about the incident, an act Warden Thompson said he viewed as a threat to McVeigh and Nichols' privacy, no matter that both were under constant CCTV surveillance and that attorney-client meeting rooms at the prison were bugged. Amazing.
You know, something tells me that there's no such thing as justice in this country.
Yeah, it's almost like the outcomes are predetermined and the judges are corrupt.
It's a good thing they got the right guy.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, it's a really. I mean, imagine the luck.
Imagine if they railroaded and killed the wrong guy.
Yeah, or the right guy, but not enough of them, or just a guy who was kind of a participant, but not a planner or in any way involved in the main part of the event. Yeah, that'd be really unfortunate.
I'm talking about just the random guy that some police department beat to death.
Oh yeah, for no reason.
He gets in at the end of the book.
Yeah, just for no reason.
Because they thought he looked like John Doe number 2.
Mm-hmm. So let's see. James Nichols wrote that while at El Reno prison, both his brother Terry and McVeigh received a hypodermic syringe and cigarette butts on their food tray, apparently from someone who was making a point that the two prisoners were not out of reach. During the same time, he continued, Terry's fingernails began turning black, which could indicate that he was being subjected to a slow poisoning. But immediately after the condition and Terry's suspicions were brought to the attention of his attorneys, the condition mysteriously cleared up. While the contents of the syringes are unknown, according to an internal defense memo, the day after the flap at the prison over the syringes, Tim found bugs in his food, but does not want this information released to the press. The Jones team seems to have been unaware
They
of
want
the
to listen to him chew?
Pretty sure they meant insects. Unaware of the exact nature of
Trust.
these goings-on, as they filed motions requesting that the court compel El Reno Prison and any other agency that would know to disclose any security threats to McVeigh. The court sealed the motions. Amazing. The death of an El Reno prison guard who worked under Mildner on McVeigh's cell block resulted in suspicion from within the conspiracy theory circles that the guard had seen something he shouldn't have, perhaps even visits by the spectral Dr. Jolly West, who they speculated was probably on one of his brainwashing excursions. He's just doing one of his little brainwashing excursions.
Oh, you know
That's
how
right.
it is.
It was even possible, some said, that West was there to mentally program McVeigh into killing himself so he couldn't spill the bombing beans. Spill the bombing beans. Amazing. Thank you, Wendy. Wendy's getting a little saucy, as the book
Wendy is just as tired of this crap as
She's
we
great.
are.
She was just like, oh, Wendy, you card. I shouldn't, but I guess I will. Spill the bombing beans.
Oh, I'm so bad.
I'm so bad, Wendy. Rumor had it that he'd been seen going in and out of prison. Dr. West aside for just a short time longer, the fact remains that we're going to get more. The fact remains that in the 2 years in and out of the prisons, Dr. West, after the bombing, there were suspicious deaths of people in a position to have insider knowledge about McVeigh or the bombing. Included among them was the aforementioned guard whose mother and others that knew him told Oklahoma State Representative Charles Key that shortly before he died, he told them he feared for his life because of important information he'd learned about McVeigh. In any event, as much as he wanted it kept under wraps, McVeigh's own fear of the prison security guards continued, and in late February, he told one defense team member that the night before, a guard had come into his cell to retrieve his dinner tray and purposely dropped it on his head while he was sleeping. When he expressed concerns about the actions of certain guards to the warden, he told McVeigh he was paranoid. Later, when he came down with a cold, McVeigh refused the flu shot offered to him, insisted he wanted no needles. In another incident, when McVeigh complained of heartburn, the Board of Prisons medical technicians told him that the bacteria can cause heartburn and drew his blood and told McVeigh they were testing it for bacteria. His attorneys, much to their displeasure, discovered that since they took the blood, they're going to type it for the U.S. Marshals for security purposes. While this ungranted access to their client understandably upset the defense team, it also couldn't have helped relieve McVeigh's anxieties about DNA databases. Well, they fucking got you, dog. Like, you were in the military. Come on. Like, after Dr. John Smith's June 1995 recommendations to the court that some of McVeigh's prison restrictions be eased, the prison agreed to turn off the surveillance cameras for at least a few hours a day. But according to Stephen Jones, the Bureau of Prisons fudged on their promise and the cameras kept rolling. By October, due to his prison conditions, the failed polygraph, and his legal team's continuous effort to get him to tell the truth, McVeigh had plummeted into a state of deep depression and anger. By January 1996, he began to say very strange things. Think hooker legs in rider trucks. Attorney Amber McLaughlin said during one meeting, McVeigh discussed the possibility that human beings have not evolved into a higher form of mankind since only 30% of the brain is used. It's not fucking true. We use our whole fucking brain. If your entire brain is being used at a given time, that is called a fucking seizure. Like, it can't all be firing at once because you're just dead then. Anyway, he wondered if Egyptians might have been a higher life form who built the pyramids through the power of their minds. This could be evidence that the human brain is degenerating. Well, that part's true. The degenerating part. I think, added McLaughlin, Tim may be spending too much time alone, but I did not tell him this. Well, what the fuck is he going to do? He's in prison, right? Like, it's like, have you thought about getting out more? It's It's like, yeah, I think about getting out all the fucking time. Anyway. McVeigh suggested that they watch the 1988 film They Live, actually banger, a favorite of
Terrific
his,
film.
about a drifter who learns that aliens masquerading as humans are controlling humankind through subliminal messages in mass media. The aliens were only detectable with special glasses. Yeah.
Actually, that movie's the first film I ever saw boobs in a movie.
Really?
Yep.
I mean, you remember, so I trust that it was memorable.
No, because in the very last scene,
Yeah.
there's just random nude scene in that film at the very end.
I
Played off as a joke.
So I like Roddy Piper, and because of They
I
Live,
like Keith David.
Keith David's good too. But because of that film, I was looking through, Roddy Piper's other movies for Drive Time Movie Night and discovered Hell Comes to Frogtown, which is an overlooked fucking gem. We watched that last week on Drive Time. We did a double feature with Hell Comes to Frogtown and Brain Damage, which is another. Apparently that one's a cult classic, but I had just never heard of it or seen it.
That sounds like something that we should watch, or that should just be mandatory.
Hell Comes to Frogtown is actually mandatory chud viewing, in my opinion.
We are Frogtown, and hell has come to us.
Everyone fucking watch Hell Comes to Frogtown. After you listen to this show, go fucking watch Hell Comes to Frogtown. I mean, also Brain Damage is really good. It's like actually it's like one half David Lynch, one half like trauma exploitation movie. That is actually legitimately a good movie, but Hell Comes to Frogtown is amazing. Anyhow, glad to see that Tim has excellent taste in his filmic entertainment. Everybody loves John Carpenter. Throughout that winter, things grew progressively worse. McVeigh complained that despite the orders of the court, his prison conditions were actually worsening, including the ability to see natural sunlight for only about an hour a week. He expressed concern that his mind is deteriorating. He feared he was rapidly losing his memory and said that if not recorded in his attorney's memos, his ideas and insights may be lost forever. These insights during this time included not only his profound thoughts on aliens and Egyptians, but also his allusions to the participation of others in the bombing, a broader cover-up or conspiracy, and the presence of government information, a government informant within the plot. Excuse me. The negative psychiatric effects of prolonged isolation and solitary confinement on prison inmates are well established, particularly in regards to those in the pretrial stage. Confusion, disorientation, intense agitation, sleeplessness, the inability to concentrate, loss of memory, obsessions, preoccupations, paranoia, panic, dissociation, hallucinations, irrational aggression, and psychotic delirium, to name a few. An often observed phenomenon is the tendency of the prisoner to believe that their confinement is an attempt to break them down psychologically. Furthermore, for those already unhinged, these confinement conditions cause severe exacerbation or recurrence of pre-existing psychiatric symptoms.
Interesting.
Interesting. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it probably was. Why wouldn't it be, right? Like, why wouldn't it be an attempt to break them down? McVeigh was like, let's just say, right? Let's just say that the official narrative is real, right? That's actually what occurred. The prison guards, like, probably if you're in a prison in Oklahoma, you're probably not like a real popular guy if everyone thinks you blew up a federal building and killed hundreds of people in Oklahoma, right? So the guards, being people, are probably not just like committed to prisoner welfare. They're probably like, this guy's a fucking dickhead, right? Like, and maybe you could make the argument that prisons shouldn't operate that way, and there should be high standards for correctional officers or whatever. but it is what it is, right? Anyway. On the other hand, James Nichols said that around the time of the syringe incident, McVeigh called him and complained that he was being kept in isolation and expressed his desire to act as his own attorney. After a number of strange incidents, James came to believe that Jones was intentionally keeping McVeigh in increasingly isolated circumstances against his wishes and preventing him from communicating with anyone he could trust. Finally, in January 1996, during one court hearing, McVeigh, through one of his defense investigators, slipped James and others a note they were to destroy after reading. According to James, in the note, McVeigh expressed his regret at being unable to call or write them, but said that his hands were tied and the psychological profilers at Quantico were watching him closely. The note said James was McVeigh's attempt to inform them the psychologists were messing with his head and, in fact, profiling the case inside Tim's head to fit the FBI's allegations. He was trying to tell us what they were doing to his mind while in total isolation. Jones himself wrote that McVeigh's stories changed in accordance with the FBI's, describing it as a Kafkaesque situation. Yeah. Sorry. James believed that McVeigh knew more than he could ever safely say, and that the powers that were would go to great lengths to prevent him from revealing what he knew. At the time, McVeigh still had the wherewithal to cry for help, but unfortunately at the time, he didn't know how to answer that cry. Likely unknown to James, Nichols were the mental not likely unknown to James Nichols were the mental health experts' observations that despite the negative impact the constant surveillance had on McVeigh, the more intense the surveillance became, the more mentally off balance McVeigh became. And when this happened, the more compliant and open he tended to be. Meanwhile, McVeigh made it known that he questioned the legitimacy of the mental health profession in general and thought the shrinks were just trying to dig something up. And on the later point, he was right. Right. Like, what is the... Like, of course he was right. You know, he's being interrogated. He's in a situation where everyone is trying to get information out of him. And you know, why would you think that you could trust a psychologist who is brought in to like get you to talk in a prison situation?
I think
right?
He's an idiot.
You think he's just dumb?
I think he might have been a little stupid.
I don't know, fellas. What do you think? Do you think he's just kind of like the answer is he's a dumb, but he's right? Like, like he says they're just trying to dig something up, and in fact they were. You know, McVeigh didn't want a mental health defense and rejected that his actions were caused by anything other than his own carefully thought out decisions. A position Jones philosophically, if not factually, agreed with. Our job, Jones wrote, is not to cure him or engage in psychoanalysis. Instead, we should concentrate on getting Tim to tell us the complete truth. Jones agreed with a recommendation made by Dr. Smith in his initial report that mental health experts meet with McVeigh and apply psychological pressure, test and push him until he disclosed the information Jones sought. Not everybody agreed and felt they should let him progress naturally rather than break him down, as Smith advised. But Jones was the boss. While the exact process of how the testing and pushing occurred and at what point it began in earnest is unknown, that it did occur seems a reasonable supposition. In February 1996, the month after James Nichols said he received McVeigh's strange note, McVeigh refused to meet with Dr. Halleck because, he said, Halleck was trying to cycle through his innermost thoughts and emotions at a place he didn't like. He was probing too deep, too fast, digging too greedily and too deep. Yeah, Woodpit. It's weird how McVeigh and the government wanted the same thing. Yeah, I mean, they did want the same thing. They both of them wanted to make it seem that McVeigh acted alone, you know, for their own or perhaps the exact same reason, depending on what your ultimate explanation is for the bombing. In early March 1996. McVeigh once more expressed that he was suffering from extreme mental anguish. both because his prison conditions and because of the psychological warfare the prison guards were waging against him. Excuse me, sorry. Waging against him. Where did I go? The prison guards were waging against him. He informed his defense team that he had finally found a way to fight back by initiating what he called an Orwellian reversal from the top rope that consisted of him communicating with the guards who watched him remotely via the live feed from the cameras in his cell and holding up signs with the guards' names on them. That same month, with the guards' names on that same month, after seeking assistance that anything he disclosed to seeking assurance that anything he disclosed to Dr. Smith would remain private, Nye explained that while the government had copies of Smith's letters to the Jones team, perhaps the public would not. Apparently satisfied with this, McVeigh then requested to see Dr. Smith again as soon as possible. McVeigh elaborated, saying he could see that he was attempting to isolate himself and wanted to nip the problem in the bud before it got out of hand. Of course, Dr. Smith was able to see him, and I believe that you are both familiar with what transpired after that, Italics added. While what exactly did transpire after that remains unknown, Smith visited him at least twice that month and continued to see him after his transfer to Englewood, Colorado, as did the other mental health experts. Yeah.
I can't make any of this funny.
What do you mean? Like just that it's procedural, like this is not the juicy portion.
A little, but also I don't know. I feel bad for Tim.
Why do you feel? I mean, just the navigating prison politics part.
Yeah, he didn't even get to join a gang.
Oh, like a cool Supermax prison gang.
Yeah.
Well, ultimately, he ended up being like buddies with Uncle Ted. So, I mean, he got a gang of two, right?
He didn't even get to meet up with the Tsarnaev brothers. They would have loved him.
He kind of strikes me as the kind of guy who would not have been happy with someone with the last name Tsarnaev. Also, only one of the Tsarnaev brothers ever got incarcerated, remember? Because the other one got shot in a bass boat.
True.
Right? Let's see. Innermost thoughts and emotions. See him. All right. In a letter written to the defense team by Dr. Smith following one of the March 1996 El Reno meetings, Smith said he had recently visited McVeigh for the first time in months and was taken aback by what he found. McVeigh's health had taken a remarkable turn for the worse since their last visit. Smith wrote, "I observed striking differences in Mr. McVeigh, both physically and psychologically. His physical condition has significantly deteriorated. He has always been rather tall, thin man, and the last time I saw him, he was vigorous, spirited, and spontaneous in conversation. But on this occasion, her eyes were sunken, black, rimmed, and his body seemed anorexic. He is obviously deteriorating physically. During the interview, he had a spontaneous nosebleed and said that for the last several weeks, at least, he has been having episodic spontaneous nosebleeds of an undetermined cause. And he is clearly not digesting or integrating his food. He is always light complexion, but is striking how pale he is. His hands are red and scaly, a new development as far as a skin condition is concerned." Kind of sounds exactly like you, Hudson. Just a sort of cadaverous kind of man, wasting away.
I've been described as lithe. That's it. And I've only ever seen it spelled. Or whitey.
Whitey?
Wiry. You gotta have it with
the
rogue.
Wiry. Yeah. Wiry. He's a wiry one. Yeah. I got that. Do you have eczema all over your hands?
I am literally just covered in polyps.
Right now, you're like it's like corn in a big turd. You're just completely
big white turd that's been left out in the sun a little too long.
Yeah, calcified in the sun, like from a dog that's been chewing on bones
and corn.
and corn. All right. Apparently, McVeigh had not explained to Smith that he sought medical attention for some of these very symptoms prior to the bombing. Smith noted that McVeigh had lapsed into a deep despair and depression to the point where he was reluctant to say what he thought, out of concern that what he said will be interpreted or seen by others as being paranoid. This has undoubtedly led him to withhold information from his defense team. He told Smith that he had been feeling an impulse to give up, although it was later noted that this might be precisely what the government is trying to accomplish. Smith said that the afflictions of McVeigh's confinement were in large part to blame for his condition. No sunlight, constantly watched, not allowed to read in his cell, minimal, if any, sunlight, and when
No, Tim, you
recreation
can
was...
read whatever you want. We just don't have the Turner Diaries. They're not letting me read.
They're not letting me read anything. It's the only book I know. Also, she said sunlight twice. And when recreation was granted, it was in a cage called the Thunderdome. Amazing. Smith thought McVeigh had been very open and forthcoming with him in revealing his emotional state, and warned that if the deterioration continued at the same rate, he would be unfit to stand trial. He recommended McVeigh have a complete physical and at the very least be allowed sunlight, as this may help slow down or even salvage his mental and physical health.
Yeah, constitutionally, he doesn't have to see the sun.
He doesn't have to see the sun. Oh my god. Oh yeah. Nervous. Neo, stop talking to Agent Smith. No kidding. No, Neo. No, you're a human battery. You've got to come eat slop with us. It's great. Take the pill, Neo. Smith thought McVeigh had been very forthcoming, unfit to stand trial. Let's see. After Smith's visit in March, a physician's assistant came to check on McVeigh once a day, and a physician came once a week. That sounds fucking tedious. Like, that sounds worse. I don't need, like, someone once a day. Fuck you. McVeigh continued to request that Smith see him, but also informed his defense team in writing that I would like a motion filed with the court requesting that any and all video monitoring and or recording of me, either at the federal courthouse or in my permanent cell, once I am on trial, not be used in any evidentiary, examinatorial, or display fashion. That is, if I am to be on camera or audio monitors, it is for security only and can't be viewed by a psychiatrist, psychologist, behavioral analyst, or any other type of senior Justice Department officials for the purpose of gawking or display. Just days after Smith's memo warning the Jones team about the deterioration of Timothy McVeigh, Burr informed Jones that McVeigh's prison conditions promoted mental and physical deterioration rather than retard it. And there was no reason for him to be guarded by 3 guards and filmed everywhere he goes. The recordings are designed to wear him down and ruin his mental and emotional health. And although denied, probably to assist the behavioral science unit of the FBI laboratory and ultimately the prosecution. Were the suspicions of the defense team born from the same delusional paranoia exhibited by McVeigh and his mother? Had McVeigh somehow infected them with this pathological paranoid information disease? Just as the paranoid imaginings of McVeigh and his mother had at least some basis in reality, so too did those of the Jones team. On May 3rd, 1995, newspapers reported that a dozen FBI profilers were scrutinizing McVeigh's entire life, from his lust for elite military missions to Army psychological tests and medical checkups, in order to build a psychological profile that may help uncover his role in the plot, i.e., leader or follower. Former FBI profiler Robert Ressler said, "The biggest key is in his military records. They offer a wealth of information. If there is any indication of a mental disorder, I suspect it would be in the health records." Ressler brought up McVeigh's microchip belief as a sign of his paranoid delusions, but did not think a paranoid psychotic could have accomplished the bombing alone, and suggested a terrorist cell could have used him. FBI consultant and Northeastern University professor Alan Burgess said the profile would help interrogators. The name of the game is to get him to the point where he's going to babble like a baby. interesting that the profiler would say that it would need to be multiple people. It's kind of strange, right?
No, you just got to get over it.
You just got to get
Slip of the
over that
tongue.
the guy who worked for the FBI, like the FBI, is actively attempting to make the case of a single person, and the FBI profiler says it was probably multiple people.
Slip of the tongue.
I mean, I'm not saying that we necessarily need to trust this guy more than anyone else. It's just like, it's actually just weird that they wouldn't have that straight, right? But since the FBI could not use Gestapo-like tactics such as beatings with a hose, although we'd like them to, they had to rely on clues in the profile. A bit later that year, FBI profiler all-star John Douglas said that people like McVeigh are comfortable in a structured environment. They do very well, but outside of a structured environment, without that rigidity, he just can't survive. On the other hand, he's probably doing fine now in jail. I bet they would say he's a model prisoner. Except he wasn't. He was suffering horribly. So, what good is what this guy said? So, once again, the writings and career of eyewitness hypnotist Michael Gellis might have given the FBI Jones or whoever else some pointers about the best way to extract coveted information from McVeigh's deteriorating mind. Although Burgess seemed pretty clear on what he thought they should do. You see, Gellis wasn't just the FBI's go-to hypnotist guy. He was an interrogation guru, one of only 11 members of the Government Experts Committee on Educing Information. Excuse me. A trailblazer in the field of operational psychology, for that matter, having formed the Naval Criminal Investigative Services Psychological Services Unit. Operational psychology, a discipline born from the OSS, precursor to the CIA, wields the arts of psychology and psychiatry, not for clinical therapeutic reasons, but for investigatory purposes, with the ultimate goal of gaining strategic information and advantage. This involves understanding a target's capabilities, personalities, and intentions, and developing ways to better extract information, ostensibly from bad guys. The specific mission of the NCIS, of which Gellis's pet unit was part, involved preventing terrorism, protecting secrets, and reducing crime. While those and what types of secrets it protected is not mentioned in the literature I reviewed, Wendy inserting herself again, perhaps the extracting and exploiting secrets might be added to the mission list. Either way, in 2003, the unabashed Gellis, who trained interrogators and profilers at Quantico, authored a comforting article about the role of psychologists and psychiatrists asked to do things that conflict with standard ethical guidelines when acting as consultants in terrorism, espionage, and intelligence cases with vital national security implications. Doctor-patient confidentiality, wrote Gellis, does not exist in such evaluations, nor does the presumption that the professional is acting in the best interests of the subject. In fact, they may be acting in just the opposite capacity, using their expertise to cause arrest, detention, prosecution, physical injury, or even death. One instance of such largely uncharted waters includes circumstances where the consultant has professional contact with the individual, but national security concerns dictate that the true purpose of the contact be withheld from the subject of the investigation. For instance, a psychologist might attend a party and mingle with guests, including the subject, with the intent of covertly evaluating them. In any case, no informed consent is required, and a detainee or subject may never know the professional identity of the expert whose purpose is to gather incriminating evidence against them. Gellis describes this very type of paranoid world that Timothy McVeigh had inhabited for quite some time, one in which anybody can turn out to be someone other than whom they claim to be.
Cap, I'm you. You don't know this, but I am the manifest id of your self-conscious or subconscious rather.
I'm supposedly the super ego of the Tookies Mag crew. I am afraid to tell you that Gabe is the id.
Of Tookie's Chan.
Yeah, unfortunately, you
Could
just
you
said that
imagine? Could you
you
imagine?
just called yourself Gabe, is what I'm saying.
Oh no.
Yeah.
I'd rather call myself not Gabe.
Just the whatever the opposite of a Gabe is.
Whatever the opposite of Gabe is what I am.
That's what you want to be. Yeah. So, but go on. What were you saying?
No, just it's really interesting how every single sort of study that's been done into mind control and like theory of mind and things like that have always come up inconclusive or as an abject failure, and yet for some reason they keep doing the experimentation. Makes me think that probably does exist in
It
a
probably
real
works.
tangible way.
Yeah. Like it probably works and is fairly reliable in the hands of a skilled operator.
A smooth criminal.
Some sort of smooth, buttery criminal with all sorts of, anyway.
Yes, Woodpit, I am EGAB or EBAG.
E-bag. Oh yeah, the opposite of Gabe. Great. E-bag. So make it.
Although Gabe would call me a D-bag.
Boo.
Yeah, well.
All right. Part 3, The Guilty Agent, or All-American Mind Control. Paging Dr. West. On March 9th, 1996, Dr. John Smith visited with McVeigh. The next day, McVeigh asked Rob Nye if he could shut down Dr. Halleck and cancel his scheduled appointment with him. He would, he said, rather have Smith instead. On March 11th, Smith wrote a letter warning Dick Burr about the startlingly rapid rate at which McVeigh was deteriorating, both mentally and physically. On March 12th, Stephen Jones personally called Smith to inquire about the literature and effects of surveillance. Smith told Jones, most of the effects of surveillance have to do with the brainwashing during the Korean War, and that's where the literature got started. As a side note, but in a matter implying that they had spoken of him before, Smith informed Jones that, drum roll and enter, Dr. West was interested in that at one time. That's how he originally made his name, and what led to him being part of the Patty Hearst thing. Unbeknownst to conspiracy theorists everywhere, as a student at Oklahoma State University, McVeigh's regular and trusted therapist, Dr. John Smith, the only shrink he ever liked, studied directly under none other than Dr. Lewis Jolyon West.
You know who'd probably like Jolly West?
I think he would, honestly, Jolly West, probably fucking amazing guy to talk to. Probably fascinating conversationalist.
Yeah, for like the first 5 minutes, and then suddenly you have the urge to kill.
It's like, for some reason I feel like doing a Fed post.
No, but I bet P. Diddy would have loved Jolly West.
I bet P. Diddy had sexual contact with Jolly West.
Ew.
Like,
Jolly West is a guy.
yeah, I mean that's P. Diddy's whole thing. Freak Fest. You mean Dr. Jolly Freak Fest West?
Freak Fest West.
Father of Kanye West?
Oh God. Maybe.
That's right.
His mom did die under really suspicious circumstances. I think they
Yeah.
left a sponge inside of her, which is not where sponges go.
Not where sponges go. That's so true. Wait, like a surgery and like a
she was getting a boob job and they left a sponge inside of her.
And she like got a staph infection and died of that.
Yep.
That's fucking wild.
Yeah, no. The worst part is, they name an infection after the people who work at the hospital.
What?
A staph infection.
Staph. I fucking hate you. Okay. I got it. I got it.
My millennialness will not allow me to.
That one was very bad. That was very bad.
Thank you. I'm here all week.
Yeah. Maybe it was Smith's glowing recommendation of West, or maybe all those rumors about West finally seeped into the minds of the defense team. But 2 days later, on March 14th, Jones team attorney Andrew Murphy called Dr. West at his UCLA office. Transcripts of the conversation imply that someone from the Jones team had spoken to West about McVeigh already, most likely Jones himself. Murphy informed West that Dr. Smith had been meeting with McVeigh, and West acknowledged Smith as a former student. McVeigh said Murphy was suffering from what Dr. Smith defined as exceptional circumstances under continuous surveillance and said, "You were the honcho on that area of medicine." West, never one to toot his own horn, simply replied, "I know a lot about it." Again, implying that a previous conversation, perhaps via Smith or with another member of the Jones team, had occurred along the way. Murphy continued, telling West, "I also understand that you are willing to come down and see Tim." West said he would be willing to if the Jones team was willing to accept his fee, which he said was almost double what someone local would charge. But then again, he explained he was an authority on the effects of confinement and sleep deprivation.
Wait,
West
wait, wait,
added,
wait. So,
"This is great." So
so
he's
not
getting,
only not
yeah,
only did he do this to Tim, but then he's gonna charge the defense team to do it again.
buddy, that's job security.
Yeah, he's
That is the fucking Sigma grind set.
Jolly West went from hero to demigod in that one interaction.
That is just like always be closing. always be psyoping. Remember to secure
Would
the bag.
Would you mind meeting with Tim? Tim McVeigh? Never heard of him. I guess I could meet him for the first time ever.
For the first time ever, and not after. Yeah, he definitely doesn't know me and hasn't known me for years.
I am not the major.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I would love to handle him.
That's an interesting laugh, Doc.
Oh no, I was coughing. I had something in my throat. Anyway.
Yes, let's go plant some memories into Tim's brain. I mean, figure out what's wrong with him.
West said he would be willing to if the Jones team. Oh, sorry, yeah. On the other hand, I
charge double.
West added, "On the other hand, I don't think there is anybody in that part of the country who has the same kind of background that I do. I'm 71 years old. I've been professor of psychiatry here at UCLA for 27 years since I left OU. During the first 20 of those years, I was chairman of the department here, as I have been there, and director of the Neuropsychiatric Institute here, and I've had a lot of positions. And so on, I'm pretty well known. My research experience has covered going back to the 50s and the effects of different kinds of confinement. There's a small body of medical literature about the effects of solitary confinement, but I'm the authority on the effects of people being, let's say, subjected to situations in which they have no privacy. American captives of the Chinese communists during the Korean War who were held that way, but there is very little literature on it as far as I know."
I can just tell you were almost slipping into like German accent.
I was holding it in.
You were teetering on the edge. I was like, wait a sec.
I was like, "Yeah, we're doing transatlantic. We're doing
I hear
transatlantic."
evil German scientists just cropping in.
Yep, didn't do it. Of course, he'd be holding a crop. Jeez. West then offered to send over some literature about constant surveillance and promised to send along his academic resume, CV, to give you an idea of what you're looking at.
A curriculum vitae.
Yes, that's right.
Come on, Wendy.
Indeed, West kept his word, and his CV located in the Jones collection. Oh, wow. His CV is located in the Jones collection. That'd be an interesting read.
This is...
yeah, Disney...
It says here between 1956 and 1958, brain stuff.
Oh, Woodpit. Disney bad guy British accent. Sounded like Scar. Okay, I could see that.
I'm surrounded by idiots.
I know that your powers of retention. Never mind.
We're not singing.
We're not
Be
singing.
prepared.
We could, but we won't.
Could.
We could, but we won't.
We should sing Hellfire from The Hunchback
From
of
the
Notre
Hunchback
Dame.
of Notre Dame.
Great song.
Yeah. Minister
Best,
Frollo.
best villain song for my money in all of Disney.
Dude, he just wanted to fucking,
Dude, he just wanted
to bleach that gypsy.
It really, I mean, he was doing what was natural to him.
Yeah.
And if not, burn her at the stake for being a witch.
Which is completely legitimate. That's totally fine.
Yeah, she literally put a spell on him.
Yep.
What with her dancing and her being of age,
and tits.
Unlike
in the
book.
original, yeah.
She's like 12.
It's pretty young. Not gonna lie. But also, Frollo's not a fucking villain in the book.
He didn't do anything wrong.
He literally did nothing wrong. All right. Let's see. Where was I?
Quasimodo. She's 12. What's wrong with you? Disney decided to make him the bad guy.
Despite ramped speculation, it says ramped. I think
she means rampant.
Yeah, rampant speculation.
That's all right. You get, what is this, 6 at this point?
If West visited McVeigh, or if the Jones team had any further communication with him, it is unknown to me. And while I've looked, believe me, I've looked. What a great aside. Thank you, Wendy. No documentation to this effect has yet surfaced. Every rumor traces back only to more rumors, although, as mentioned, the earliest of these are tied to Linda. The CIA is zapping my brain, Thompson. Great nickname. Wendy is on a tear here.
A little wordy.
A little wordy for a nickname.
Yeah.
Yeah, you would never.
I would have just gone. I would just go up and say, "Hi,
zapping.
Linda."
Yeah. You wouldn't say, "Hey, look, it's good old the CIA is zapping my brain, Thompson." You'd probably call her like Zap Thompson or something. Although it does sound like a guy's name.
Yeah, no, Zap Thompson is the other one of Peter Parker's bullies.
Mm-hmm. And there the creepy trail ends. When asked years later, members of the Jones team, including Jones himself, seemed not to know the extent of either West or Smith's involvement with McVeigh, or avoided the question. In fact, the Jones team requested records that would help them construct a chronology of the events of McVeigh's time at Tinker Air Force Base, although the reasons for this could have nothing to do with West.
So apparently Esmeralda was 16 in the book, so
that's fine. I mean, it was what, the Renaissance is probably fine. In 1998, David Hoffman observed, recent history is replete with cases of individuals who calmly walk into a restaurant, schoolyard, or post office and inexplicably begin shooting large numbers of people as though they were in a trance. Hoffman described what years earlier Conway and Siegelman termed snapping, and what tragically recent history has continued to witness at a seemingly exponential rate. Rather than definitely not exponential. Rather than resulting from information diseases, though, Hoffman asks if these snappers are subjects of CIA sleeper mind control experiments. According to Hoffman, McVeigh was subjected to psychological torture while in prison, which he says got so bad that eventually his attorneys called in a psychiatrist to help treat his anxiety. Could it be, Hoffman wondered, that McVeigh was an Army CIA guinea pig involved in a classified telemetric / mind control experiment? I don't think telemetry is like distance measurement. I don't think telemetric / mind control makes any sense there. Anyway, given the plague of missing Gulf
it's
War,
like Star Wars with parsecs and the Kessel Run.
Yeah. All right, that was the worst reference you could have possibly made. It would have been way better if you said 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea.
Oh yeah, no, that's how long the journey was, not how deep.
Yeah, it's how long. Correct. Yep, that's right. Yep.
Friend of the show, JL Mackey, he was very upset at that.
What, he was upset that to discover it wasn't the depth. It was.
Yeah.
Oh,
and he thought I was wrong. And I was like, I didn't say it. I let Closington be wrong or right. I'm just the host. Shout out to Tom Edgman, the JL Mackey of JL Mackeys.
Shout out to Clossington, fellow Mason.
Good Lord, you guys are everywhere.
Yeah. Let's see.
Seriously?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think that's not even remotely a secret.
I know. Well, you guys are the worst secret society I've ever heard of.
Yeah, you put the fucking thing on the building. We're all over the place. You can Google where the nearest one is.
It's the only well-made buildings in this town.
Oh shit. Let's see here. Given the plague of missing Gulf War vet medical records throughout the country, Hoffman thought it reasonable to assume that entries for telemetric mind control would be purged from McVeigh's. For whatever reason, the Jones team had begun researching just such a scenario nearly a year prior to their call to West. In any event, although Hoffman does not name or mention Smith in his account, he, like others, does posit that Dr. Jolly West mind-controlled McVeigh during his brief stay at Tinker Air Force Base, immediately following his arrest and perp walk. He noted that West's presence at Tinker during McVeigh's arraignment, ostensibly heading a psychological disaster response team. West himself had disclosed this to the Jones team, telling them that while it wouldn't affect his impartiality, they should be aware of it. Although that's interesting that he disclosed it.
Oh yeah, we met before, but we didn't meet before.
When Hoffman interviewed West and asked if he treated McVeigh, West denied having done it, curiously stating, "No, I haven't been asked to do that. I think his lawyer wouldn't want someone he didn't trust." Hoffman didn't buy it, and West certainly didn't bring up his student Smith, who McVeigh trusted more than most. Interesting. Wow.
That Smith is just such a good talker. You know, instantly you just feel at ease with him.
You mean West?
No, Smith.
Oh, just because, yeah.
Smith's the one he trusts.
Oh, Mandelbrot Dust. Oh my God, Capitalisimo is a Freemason. Yes, and if you spell it that way, it means I'm not charging. It's true.
He's how else do you spell it?
It's one word.
Oh.
Yeah.
You know what else is one word?
Trudson.
Damn.
Yeah. What now? What now, bitch?
I was gonna say damned.
Damned. Nice. Okay.
You are damned.
Let's see here. Author Robert Guffey noted, Dr. West acts as a kind of dowsing rod for anyone attempting to track down government mind control experiments. Whenever one finds Jolly, the CIA isn't too far behind. How did Dr. Jolly West, just a Jewish kid from Brooklyn, become such a notorious legendary figure?
Oh, so he probably doesn't have that mid-Atlantic accent, more of a, oh God, Tim.
Oh God,
why did you blow up that building?
Why'd you go and blow up the building, Tim? Yeah, actually, you know,
why is all your accents are gay, man? Like
what?
That one. That was very...
No, that was like a lady.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Like yeah. Yeah.
I gotta call my psychiatrist.
You gotta call my psychiatrist. That one's also a lady.
Technically a lady, yes. Dr. Girlfriend.
Yeah. You could do this, Sheila. Yeah. All right. How did Dr. Jolly West, just a Jewish kid from Brooklyn, become such a notorious legendary figure? Why do many, if not all, stories about brainwashing and technologies of control roads eventually lead to and intersect with West? How did persistent rumors come to surround West generally and speculations about his relationship to McVeigh specifically? Why does he continue to appear as McVeigh's CIA mind controller / microchip implanter?
Why am I asking you?
In what ways do legends about West relate to other episodes detailed in his writing? In short, when West offered to send his CV to the Jones team, what exactly were they looking at?
It just says doctor on this CV.
It just says don't worry about.
Imagine
Why
having a
does it say
redacted
don't
CD.
worry about it? Yeah. Yeah. Oh my God. American Mind Control 101, or Rambo's Nightmare. For after all, how do we know that 2 and 2 make 4, or that the force of gravity works, or that the past is unchangeable? If both the past and the external world exist only in the mind, and if the mind itself is controllable, what then? George Orwell, literally 1984. Power is in tearing human minds to pieces and putting them together again in new shapes of your own choosing. George Orwell, also literally 1984.
Literally 1984.
Hello, darkness, my old friend. I've come to talk with you again. Because a vision softly creeping left its seeds while I was sleeping, and the vision that was placed in my brain still remains within the sound of silence. Paul Simon, Sound of Silence. And that one was a #1 on the Billboard charts.
Boy,
I don't
Wendy
know.
really likes Simon and Garfunkel. Or all right, who wins in a fight, Simon or Garfunkel?
Paul Simon, obviously. I mean,
I
he's
don't
a
know.
short guy, but
Garfunkel's got the reach.
yeah, but like Paul Simon, I mean, had more of a career, probably,
We're talking about strictly pound for pound fighter.
Well, then it's just the bigger one.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, all right. I mean, but that's not like that, not that exciting, right?
I would watch I don't Art Garfunkel. I would watch him beat Paul Simon to death.
I don't know. I like Paul Simon. You know what? When we're done with this, I'm gonna go listen to Call Me Al. I'm gonna do
What
it.
a terrible of all the damn you.
You don't like Call Me Al?
Yeah, that it's a fine song, but that's not like no. No, that's like saying, "Oh, I love Paul McCartney. I'm gonna go listen to Uncle Albert."
I mean, have you ever seen the music video to Call Me Al?
No.
It's just Chevy Chase lip syncing while sitting next to Paul Simon. And it's really funny because Paul Simon and Chevy Chase looked a lot alike at the time, except Paul Simon was like half of Chevy Chase's height. So he was just getting mogged ruthlessly in his own music video. It was great.
Yeah, I love Chevy Chase.
Yep. Why am I soft in the middle now? Yeah. The rest of my life is so hard. All right. What if I die here?
God. I
During
didn't
World
know
War
what you were
II.
doing for half a second there, and now I hate you. I was like, "Wait, why am I soft in the—" I was like, "Wait, I know that's lyric from something. Oh, damn it, that's Call Me Out."
Mandelbrot Dust. Chevy Chase would definitely beat Paul Simon in a fight. Yeah, not fucking
Okay,
close.
that's a better question. Chevy Chase or Art Garfunkel?
Oh, Chevy Chase.
I think
I think
Chevy pulls.
Chevy's got the rage, right? He's got the rage. Anyway, during World War II, leading academic journals had reported on the military's successful use of hypnosis. In his 1943 book, appropriately, if uncreatively titled Hypnosis, head of the psychology department at Colgate University, Dr. George Estabrooks, bragged about the military's use of hypnosis during wartime, particularly the creation of hypnotic couriers with clinic. And couriers is spelled incorrectly here. Couriers is lacking its O, so it's like a hypnotic courier, as in someone who makes curries. Hypnotic couriers, these goddamn Jeets, as early as the 1940s, with clinically created dual personalities, and this is spelled dual as in a fight. Like,
Oh,
not,
Wendy.
yeah, what the fuck? This sentence is a mess.
Now, the thing is, it's actually misspelled. Couriers is misspelled, but not the way you think. It's actually hypnotic carriers. See,
Oh,
Jolly West was able to convince the entire Japanese Navy that America's aircraft
Amazing.
carriers were at Pearl Harbor so that they would attack, but they weren't, so it didn't really do all that much damage, and then they got the sun dropped on them twice.
That's true. That's true. Drop suns right on them.
And there
And
was a
that's
duel of
why
there were personalities dueling inside of his mind.
And that's why they invented the anime. 40 years later, the effects of the atomic bomb.
Okay, Pete.
That's just, I'm just saying, if I'm Pete, you're Billy Quiz Boy. You're my little water baby.
Eat the pennies, quiz boy.
Eat the pennies, quiz boy. All right. They would have.
I got taken off the air for that. Thank you.
Particularly the creation of hypnotic couriers with clinically created dual personalities who could deliver messages that they would have no recollection of later. Estabrook, the plot to Johnny Mnemonic. Estabrooks told of the sheep dipping of agents who would be given a fake dishonorable discharge from the military, subjected to hypnotic programming that allowed them to convincingly infiltrate enemy groups, after which they would report to their handlers with amazing recall of the information they gleaned about the enemy.
So basically just the film The Departed.
Basically just the first 600 pages of this book. Yeah. After the conclusion of the war, the 1947 National Security Act and the creation of the CIA that same year established rhetorical justification, covert infrastructure, and the extra legal means of necessary to initiate a series of ambitious yet unsavory and highly secretive research projects. In short, it was this time in the earliest years of the Cold War that the CIA and U.S. military began a sustained, disciplined, and well-funded foray into mind control. Among the events to catalyze such research efforts was the arrest of Cardinal Joseph Mindszenty by communists in Budapest for espionage and subversion.
Which is funny because Mindszenty is actually Hungarian for mind controller.
Mindszenty, held for 39 days and interrogated, eventually confessed, despite a startling lack of evidence against him. During his 3-day public, in scare quotes, trial in 1949, he displayed a robotic, zombie-like demeanor and spoke in a monotonous, mechanical chant. It's just a Gregorian chant, Wendy.
This is a Catholic cardinal, not a Orthodox.
The Gregorian chants are in both.
I doubt that. I doubt that very much.
It's a pre-schismatic art form.
Yeah, well, you're the schismatic, so of course you stop doing it.
See, you're the one who constantly wants to get into this because you're a convert, because there was something missing inside of yourself that made you.
Yeah, there was something missing inside of myself. A big Jesus-shaped hole in my heart.
And yet you patched it with a schema monk and a bunch of icons. I don't actually.
Awesome. Prudentialist sent me some icons.
Look, icons are awesome, and obviously, it's not like icons are used less in the Catholic Church.
Shout out to the Prudentialist.
Yeah, shout out to Prude, good guy. I really like watching his progress on painting icons.
Woodpit, what Thomas 777 show was on that? Because
yeah, I haven't seen that. That does sounds like a good watch. EL. The CIA convinced TR he was not a gay man. They saved you. They saved you from perdition, TR. How do you feel about that?
That's a good movie. Road to Perdition.
Road to
Tom Hanks.
Yeah.
Great film.
Man. All right.
I only think in movies and Simpsons clips.
The for folks, did Prude ever post a picture of the icon that he completed?
Yeah.
The one that was from the deceased priest.
Yes. Yeah, he posted that. I want to maybe not a year ago, maybe like 6 months ago.
it was definitely not 6 months ago. He completed it like a month ago, maybe.
Oh, I might be thinking of something because there was another incomplete icon that he completed a while back.
Yeah, the Prudentialist sort of inherited a partially completed icon from the personal effects of a deceased Orthodox priest, and then did the rest of the work on it, which is very very nice story, good devotional act. Yeah.
Shout
So
out to Pete Quinones. Great show he's got, especially the Thomas episodes.
I'm kind of working my way through the complete Pete Q.
Yeah, you really do. Like
Thomas Evans.
it's well worth it, but it's a lot of stuff. They basically go over the entire 20th century.
Yeah, also his ad breaks are fucking egregious. Like,
Oh, I know.
there's
Yeah,
so many. Oh my god.
yeah. Which I mean, hey, good for him that he's able to, because if you become a paid patron to Pete, he does give you the RSS feed.
Yeah. I
If
It might be worth it. Yeah.
It might be
Um,
because yeah, you just hear that Chicago accent, and then somebody's like, "Hey, refinance your car," and I'm like, "Oh, what the hell?"
son of a bitch. Yeah. Um, let's see here. Speaking of might be worth it. Uh, need those super chats. We
Yeah,
really
yeah.
appreciate it.
I'm gonna have to start reading ads.
We didn't have anything last week. We had no opportunities. So we really appreciate it. Anyone who wants to throw a super chat up, we're available over on YouTube if you're watching on X. So
And
you can find us on YouTube and send those supers. And we will have an entropy. I knew he was going to say it. Owen Zaleski, get an entropy. That's right. We will get an entropy when it becomes
Owen
basically
is like
reasonable.
one of those like old toys with a pull string. So he's got like
He's
three
got like
things.
3 lines.
Discord
The Discord
sucks.
sucks. Yeah.
Get an entropy. I grew. I grew Tiki Chan's tits.
I'm waiting for the next milestone. Also Owen Zaleski, are you guys going to have Geo on LMD sometime? LMD is not really like a guest show. I mean, the one time that we had Micah Pohl and Sandbatch on, it was
He got the Jolly West treatment.
it was to pinch hit for Hudson being unable to be here. However, Geo will be on Drive Time Movie Night, April 2nd, 2025. If you're listening to this in the past or in the future, sorry. And but
I'll try to have Geo on my show again to talk about something that's not just internet kitschy bullshit.
Yeah. You read an actual book that time.
Yeah. Not just one made up on the internet.
Yeah, I wonder when his book's coming out.
Don't talk about Geo's book. He just added 4 new chapters to it.
He just added 4 new. It's Geo's book is going to come out when The Winds of Winter is released. I hope that ages poorly. By the way, I hope that joke ages poorly for in all respects.
It is weird that Mike and I are never in the same room at the same time.
That's true. You are. I mean, yeah. Woodpit is
It would be
right
it'd be
here.
a lot of fun if we had a conspiracy theory in our conspiracy theory show.
Where you are my co-host on a different show under a different pseudonym, running a voice mod and operating on a completely different personality and skill set.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. No, that's good. I mean, I couldn't disprove it. I've never met you. So
And you never will.
Owen Zaleski for $2. Get entropy. He paid $2 to run an ad for entropy. And in fact, if we had an entropy, it would have saved us 60 cents. So thank you, Owen. Much appreciated always. Let's see here. And do I not say Zaleski? Oh, Woodpit didn't say Zaleski. Woodpit, Cringe Walker 2, I suspect doesn't exist. Cringe Walker is Lou Templar. It's the same guy.
What?
It is the same guy.
No.
I think it is.
Stop.
No, I think they're actually the same guy.
There's no way.
Why?
Cringe Walker hasn't been online in forever, and now you're just telling me that this guy Lou Templar is just sliding in where he was? No.
I'm saying they're literally the same person. It's just
Okay.
he's Cringe Walker on YouTube.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Anyway. Yeah, no one can spell Lou Templar. That's right. Alrighty. Let's see. Where the hell was I? All right. Among the events to catalyze such research efforts was the arrest of I already read this. All right. Let's see. He displayed robotic zombie-like demeanor and spoke in a monotonous mechanical chant. That same year, the United States Air Force commissioned Yale psychologist Irving Janis to study the Mazinski case. Janis concluded that Mazinski's strange behavior was the result of a series of electroshock-induced convulsions combined with drugs, sleep deprivation, and hypnosis, which induced a somnambulistic trance that allowed his captors to implant false memories, thereby assuring his compliance, his false confession, and even his own belief in his false confession. They're doing this to me next Saturday. Janis advised that the U.S. intelligence community conduct systematic experiments using the same methods to see if they, too, could induce false confessions. Their efforts to do so were quickly met with success. Well, how lovely. Wood Pit for $1.99. Absolutely nothing. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it.
That's the most you've ever contributed to this channel.
I don't think that's true.
No, he's a great commenter. I love Woodpit.
Yeah.
It's that EL I can't stand.
Synambulistic trance groiper.
It's weird the words that you know how to pronounce.
Synambulism? Sleepwalking?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's been a couple of really common words that you messed up before.
It's because I have an uncommon vocabulary. I used to say obfuscate. I added the ST.
Woodbit, I didn't mean it.
In 1950, the CIA initiated Project Bluebird, expanded and renamed Artichoke in 1951.
Was the guy naming these things just looking out the window one day? It's like, what the hell do I call it today?
Bluebird. That's nice. Yeah. It was named after a school bus full of the test subjects, actually.
A year later, Artichoke. Yeah, fuck it. Why not?
Yep. Conducted in coordination with Army and Navy researchers. According to CIA documents, the objectives of the project included identifying offensive uses of unconventional and unorthodox methods to gain control of an individual by application of special interrogation techniques.
They never heard of thirst traps.
They never, but man, yeah, they have heard of thirst traps because
they invented them. Oh yeah, that's right. The honeypot.
They're running the algorithms, just so you know. Yes, the entire internet is
one big MK Ultra scheme.
Yes,
get off the internet.
Absolutely
kids.
True. Yeah,
go watch television.
Yeah, right. It might act. Honestly, television is probably safer for like Zoomers and millennials because
Subway Surfers isn't playing at the bottom of your
screen. Only works on boomers. It's completely like boomer programmed. So I don't know if you've have ever had this experience or if you've recently had this experience, but if you're with a boomer relative and you are watching a show on TV and you point out a narrative or framing quirk to it and then add additional information, they will be fucking shocked every time. They are fucking shocked. They actually trust the television. Almost all of them. I mean, it's like when boomers hear you know, like a TV show or a film that says
I
based
don't
on a
know. I
true
saw it on
story,
the news the other day.
right? Or it's like based on a true story, right? They think that means it is a documentary. They think that means that it's well, and also the existence of documentaries. Like obviously, nothing is neutral or lacking any sort of imposed frame.
Oh, I'm not.
What?
Okay. When my mother was alive, she watched the news all the time, and she couldn't tell you anything that was going on in the world. But
She sure had some feelings about it.
yeah, oh yeah, she did not like the Orange Man.
Yeah.
She was a big Orange Man disrespector.
She had the TDS.
Yeah, a little bit.
TDS recognized in the DSM-7. We're gonna make it happen.
Did we skip 6?
I think it's currently the DSM-6, isn't
I
it?
thought we were on DSM-5.
What? Yeah, Jamie, why don't you check what DSM we're up to? Anyhow, in 1950, the
Yeah,
CIA.
we're on DSM-5 still.
Great, there we go. According to CIA documents, the objective
Hey,
of the project
that's so
included
fun.
What?
So the latest version of the DSM-5, which was published in 2022, is the DSM-5 TR.
Oh no! Oh no!
Hudson's back.
Hudson's back, baby. That's
unfortunate for you, Cap.
Oh no, it's over for me. TR Hudson's got the whole DSM power supply coming in now. All right. So, I guess we can probably get through a few more sections here in the next little bit that we have left.
Yeah, we got 12-ish minutes.
Yeah. In 1950, the CIA initiated Project Bluebird, expanded and renamed Artichoke in 1951, conducted in coordination with Army and Navy researchers. According to CIA documents, the objectives of the project included identifying offensive uses of unconventional and unorthodox methods to gain control of individuals by application of special interrogation techniques and ability to reverse engineer these methods to prevent unauthorized extraction of information in the event of capture. In addition, researchers sought to create an exploitable alteration of personality by developing effective and reliable ways of inducing enhanced memory capacity, implanting false memories, and assuring compliance in formerly non-compliant people generally. Methods of doing so included, but were not limited to, truth serums, other biological and chemical agents, hypnosis, induction of somnambulistic trances, post-hypnotic suggestions and controls, sensory stimulation, electroshock, psychosurgery, i.e. partial lobotomy, brain damage, so-called black psychiatry, basic, classical Pavlovian conditioning, brainwashing, or any other methods possibly useful for interrogation, subversion, or seduction, and resistance. There we go. We're back to the honeypots and e-girls. To achieve these aims, the U.S. government drew from the expertise of newly recruited paperclip Nazi mind scientists and their handlers. Progress towards the research objectives was rapid. Amazing. Researchers had a wide variety of drugs as well as human test subjects at their disposal, including unwitting CIA agents and assets of questionable loyalty, i.e. suspected moles, plants, and double agents. More often, though, test subjects were found among unsuspecting civilian quote-unquote volunteers deemed expendable, such as drug addicts, prisoners, and patients at sanitariums and hospitals. The research projects also culled an endless supply of subjects from the military population. Soldiers made exceptionally good candidates for experiments because they could not sue for damages resulting from harm done to them by military doctors, and were the only population for whom a modicum of legally informed consent did not apply.
Did you know that if you show up at a mental hospital with like $200 in cash, you can have sex with any of the patients that you want?
Amazing. I'm just hearing about it now for the first time, but I'm telling you, these bills are burning a hole in my pocket. Experiments designed to ensure
Dan Baltic taught me that.
yes. Experiments designed to ensure strategic military and intelligence advantage resulted in a number of adverse effects for the unwitting lab rats, including paranoia, depression, epilepsy, and death. The possibility that, in some cases, certain terminal experiments could lead to death was one taken into account during the inception, planning, and execution of the research, no pun intended. For the already burgeoning art of American brainwashing, the Korean War, 1950 to 1953, was a godsend. The Korean War provided further justification, institutionalization, and acceleration of America's mind control initiatives, and shortly after entering the war, the U.S. practiced and further developed their advanced techniques on North Korean prisoners of war held in Japan. You'd love to see it. Let's see. One CIA project-related memo asked if it was possible to get control of an individual to the point where he will do our bidding against his will and even against fundamental laws of nature, such as self-preservation. Included seizing a subject and by post-hypnotic control, have him crash an airplane or cause a train wreck. Huh. Funny how you should mention the airplane.
I didn't know that Muhammad Atta and Jolly West hung out.
Right. I didn't know that George H.W. Bush and Jolly West hung out. Actually, I did know that.
Yeah, they were Skull and Bones brothers or something.
Yeah, they were bros. Well, he was a CIA operative when H.W. was the head of the CIA. So, let's see. Train wreck. Perhaps the question was rhetorical because those engaged in active research into the question during the early Cold War mind control race certainly thought so and had made this abundantly clear. Public agencies such as the CIA, OSS, the DoD, Naval and Air Force Intelligence, and their private think tank counterparts such as the RAND Corporation continue to issue reports identifying and outlining the ability to control behaviors, regulate memories, and elicit false confessions. In fact, despite conventional beliefs that a person could not be hypnotized to commit acts that went against their personal ethics, Estabrooks and other leading hypnotists claimed otherwise. In 1950, a popular magazine quoted the good Dr. George Estabrooks, who claimed, "I can hypnotize a man without his knowledge or consent into committing treason against the United States," and warned that if he could do it, so could the communists. In one of Estabrooks' more compassionate research proposals to the spooky backers, the spooky backers could be here. He expressed the opinion that any and all loss of life might result from experiments in which hypnotized individuals were commanded to murder would be justified. A very trifling portion of that enormous wastage of human life, which is part and parcel of war. Amazing.
Okay.
Estabrooks.
So
based.
Slipped right into hunter-gatherers there for a second.
He sure did. No, Estabrooks, unbelievably based. Research and development of brainwashing took on added urgency after a group of USAF pilots, Air Force, held as POWs, prisoners of war, confessed to the use of biological warfare agents, anthrax, typhus, cholera, and plague against the North Koreans.
Illnesses.
Thousands more apparently brainwashed POWs had signed petitions making similar confessions and pleading with the U.S. to end the war. Once released, some of the American POWs who had succumbed to communism were taken to military hospitals, where Army officials said the best techniques of modern psychiatry would be used in their preparation for return to society. It is unknown what this special treatment consisted of.
Beatings.
In any event,
we're going to beat the capitalism into you, boy.
In any event, after the POW's confession snafu, situation normal, all fucked up, the CIA, military intelligence and defense establishment, sought the knowledge
CIA,
of
Central Intelligence
Agency, military intelligence and defense establishment, sought the knowledge of leading academics to help close the mind control gap. Amazing. Various war crimes. Enter the ubiquitous and legendary Dr. Louis Jolly on Jolly West, born in... All right, hold on. We're going to call it there.
Yeah, that's probably...
We're going to call it there because we only have a few minutes left, and I want to start next time
right on Jolly
Enter
West.
the ubiquitous Jolly West.
My God, it's Jolly West with the steel chair.
Oh my God, it's Jolly West with a steel chair. With a steel chair with a top rope. That's right. That's right. Well, we did it.
We're back.
Mr. President, we can't allow there to be a mind control gap. That's right. Oh my God. This has been Library of Mass Destruction, episode 21.
Good Lord, we've been doing this for a while.
You've listened to 63 hours of Library of Mass Destruction so far. There's going to be more. We're going to get into the 70s before we're done. Yeah. TR, what have you got? What have you got coming up before our next episode?
Double Dealer, Cannon Fodder, all that good stuff. I think I'm gonna do a show with Last Things, and I'm gonna try and tell him why the postmodern novel is wrong and bad and terrible, and we need to go back to tradition. The based book sale is on right now. It's an alternative sort of history subject, so my book is on there. Dave Herod of Tukey's Mag, his book is there as well. A few
Brilliant.
other people that you know from our sphere. So yeah, go ahead and check that out. So it's 99 cents on Amazon as a Kindle book for the next week or so.
Excellent.
It is both perfect and wicked, Owen.
Oh, yep. Is it perfect or is it wicked? Yep, that's right. It's
99 cents to find out who killed JFK. Just kidding. I don't mention Israel in the book.
It was JFK did it himself. It was suicide. It was
Get
an
away from
elaborate
his
suicide.
wife, who kept catching him in his affairs.
I mean, she was a fine piece. Let me just tell you, it's absolutely tragic to.
His brain just did
that. What if his brain just did that? Thanks, Gerald Ford, for this excellent idea. You come up with all the best ones on the Warren Commission.
That's why we're going to make you president after Nixon.
That's right. All right. Well, this was wonderful. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time. And we're going to play us out there.
Good night, America.
We will not walk in fear one of another. We will not be driven by fear into an age of unreason if we dig deep in our history and our doctrine, and remember that we are not descended from fearful men, not from men who feared to write, to associate, to speak, and to defend the causes that were for the moment unpopular. We must not confuse dissent with disloyalty. Good night.